the MODUS Super Series, brought to you in association with Bet365, Betfair, Betfred, Coral, Ladbrokes, Paddy Power, Unibet and William Hill.
Good evening, welcome along to the first night session of the week here at the MODUS Super Series. I'm joined by Mr. Matthew Edgar, who will be commentating on the action and has been all week. Matt, what have you made of it so far?
It's been a really good week, hasn't it? Really entertaining. I think the groups we've seen so far, Group A, rightful player won that, consistency won that, and then the players have probably gone into the right sections. It's going to type, though, I think, at the moment. We say the cream will rise to the top is always the expression, and that's kind of happening at the minute.
Well, let's see if it happens this evening. But before we do that, we'll take a look back on what happened this afternoon. And here are the action, or here is the action from Group C. In fact, there is the action. Matt Jackson, who has picked up a win each day so far at the Super Series, but will need more than that to try and qualify. However, what an entrance from Cam Crabtree.
To do this on debut as well, 115.62 average. Wrapped that up in just over 6 minutes. It was an incredible performance.
And then didn't win another match, remarkably. Speaking of remarkable things, this was the last finish of the day. Top to the 140 from David Wazowski. Jesus Nogueira, we've seen him all week. He played some decent stuff today, didn't he?
Yeah, he really peaked well, which is what we're kind of seeing from him, but the range of his performance is what concerns at the moment, but he's very well in the running for Group C.
As for Scott Taylor, well, he turned his day around, really. Lost his first 2 matches, but then won his next 3, including this brilliant 160 finish. But it was Robert Thornton who was the main man in the group, winning 4 out of 5 matches. I mean, you were saying it during Group A. He's got better as each day's gone on.
We sort of got mid-part of Tuesday, didn't we? His words, it was abysmal. And he didn't like Monday, couldn't get the feel. Started that way on Tuesday as well, and from that mid-part of Tuesday, he's been a different player. He's the favourite to win that group, and he's going to be a strong favourite to win it now.
Yeah, he liked looking at this, the Group C table, top of it on 8 points, but the race really is on, even with those 4 out of 5 and only 2 players going through. Robert Thornton's not safely through by any stretch of the imagination.
No, not at all. And when you look at Jesus Nogueira and David Wazowski, David played some really good stuff today. He's very consistent across the board. We said he looked a bit one-paced at times, but then in that last game, he played fantastic darts to win that 4-0. We've seen in the highlights video that 60 top-stops. He had a 180 in that leg as well. So he's shown that he can actually peak as well. So he's going to be a bit of a danger, but I think them top 2 stay the same.
Yeah, well, tonight is all about Group B, so we'll just have a look at the groups for the week. Thibaut Tricot got through Group A earlier in the week. He's already through to finals night. You've just seen who is in the provisional top 2 spots in Group C. But Group B, Andy Hamilton dropping into it with Martin Adams from Group A, and then it's Justin Smith, Lee Cox, Stephen Burton, all players that are pretty experienced in this format.
Oh, definitely. There's no debutants, there's no nothing. These guys have played over 100 matches. Justin Smith, the one who's played the least amount, 100 games in terms of what he's done in this sort of format before. So there's lots of experience here and there's an awful lot of talent.
Yeah, what about Andy Hamilton this week? He played some good stuff in Group A, didn't he? We're going to see one of the moments of the week actually came from the hammer, a 167 checkout. This was after his opponent declined to go for the bullseye.
Yeah, I do like this one because you just look at Jesus in the background and he's sort of staring him down. He's almost expecting this. Jesus set this up rather than having a dart at the ball himself, and Andy Hamilton gave him the old Keith Della, Eric Bristow situation when he punished him for not having a go at the ball.
I'm going to put you on the spot before we get into this match. 3 players go through. Who would you be surprised not to see go through?
Justin Smith. I'm really impressed with Justin Smith. He's a guy in form. He's recently won a Challenge Tour event. I like the pace of his play. He can hit big scores. He can hit massive averages at times. And he's an exciting one to watch. I think he's going to go through.
Yeah, it's a good point, that, actually, because both Andy Hamilton and Justin Smith won Challenge Tour titles on the very last day of this season. Justin Smith is playing after winning that title. His first match is against the other fella who won one on the final day. And I caught up with Justin a little bit earlier on. Justin, welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. You come here a Challenge 2 winner as well. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Just give us a bit of a flavour of how much playing in this has helped you to get there.
Well, it's actually mental, to be fair. Well, going from Southampton, obviously, it was unbelievable there, and then to step up to do this it is crazy, to be fair. Especially having the fans and everything on Saturday, if you qualify, it's really good, to be fair.
Looking at the group you've got, obviously you've been able to see some of them in Group A. What are your thoughts on the other players?
It's a tough group, obviously. There's how many good people, but I've played a few of them before, beaten them, a few of them as well, but, you know, it's anyone's game, really, isn't it?
Yeah, how are you feeling about your form?
Well, coming through the Challenge Tour, obviously, I played all right there, but the averages, they weren't the best, but I still come through and win, and the local leagues and everything, I've been playing really well there, so I am playing all right, to be fair.
Andy Hamilton, first game, you know what to expect from him as a well-known player?
He's been playing well all week as well, hasn't he? So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. I'm really excited to play this now.
So good luck.
Cheers, buddy, thank you.
Well, without further ado, let's get the action underway. Two in-form players on the stage and two, well, in-form, I suppose, commentators in the box. Chris Mason and Matthew Edgar will guide you through Andy Hamilton against Justin Smith.
Thank you very much, Murph. No, not too much form myself this evening. I had a quick 20 minutes on the stage just to loosen the arm up. Andy Hamilton has loosened his arm up all week. He, of course, as already mentioned by Matt and Murph, one of the two players to come out of Group A alongside Martin Adams and, of course, the Group A winner, Thibaut Tricol, the Frenchman, safely through to Saturday night's final. How do you see this one going, Matt?
I think this one's going to be an interesting game. Like we've mentioned a few times, Justin Smith, the bearded dragon.
Game on.
Had a bit of a trim, I noticed, if you look at his snappy chat.
It's not quite Scott Waitsy, is it? That's a magnificent specimen of a beard.
Oh, there's some good beards going around at the moment, and we did let you know that Justin Smith has a good beard, and you can see it on show here, but he's also a very good dart player, and he's going in the right direction. We've seen him in a UK Open recently, and peaked recently with that Challenge Tour victory. I think one thing that does slightly concern me, though, is when you listen to that interview, one of the things that dart players tend to do is we tend to find a negative within a positive. And he's just won a Challenge Tour title for the first time. And the first thing he wants to do is complain about his averages.
Yeah. They don't like averages on checks. Well, it's players at totally different ends of the spectrum. When you look at Andy Hamilton,
100.
His earnings from ranking tournament play, 1.1 million and 16,000. And I mentioned the 16,000 with some relevance, because the career innings of Justin Smith so far, like I said, at the other end of the spectrum in terms of career, 16,000. So Andy just the 1.1 million ahead.
180.
And it's Justin Smith ahead in the leg with that magnificent max. You mentioned it with Murph. He is a big, big scorer when he's on his game.
Yeah, and with the pace that he has, with a lot of players that play at a nice rhythm, they just make it look easy when they're playing well. And Justin falls into that category. He's got a nice, loose, relaxed action.
Very Michael Smithy, isn't it?
And yeah, I'm very surprised to see him installed for this group at 9-2. I think there's a lot of value in that in Justin Smith. I think he could be, well, under them odds, you'd call him a dark horse. He's the fourth favourite out of 5 players.
Tops on the 131. Oh, what a brilliant start.
Andy Hamilton.
The 180, the 137 setup from Smith. Hamilton pops in treble 17, tops for a 15 dart hold.
To throw first. Game on.
That's definitely one for the highlight reel.
140.
Justin Smith's best performance in this discipline was a 105.47 average. Took him just 6 minutes and 27 seconds to dispose
140.
of me.
At least it didn't last long, mate. Every cloud. See, we get the positive.
100.
Why do you think I came straight in here after that? That was a 1 Group A. that was a week I won Group A. I went in there and I got pumped 4-0 by Justin Smith with that 105.47 average in 6 minutes.
137.
Sit there for about an hour. Went James Richardson, put something similar in. I was on my way home. How many times do we see that from Group A winners?
Yeah, it is a poison chalice.
140.
But this continuous high scoring from Justin Smith is being maintained. He did say in that little interview that he has been playing well in local leagues. He must have taken a huge amount of confidence.
134.
As did Andy
Justin
Hamilton from winning a
121.
Challenge Tour on the same day. Those of you wondering how that works, there's 2 Challenge Tour events on the same day.
53.
And
you
you
require
11
90.
or 12, and then the second one around about 4 or 5 p.m.
That was about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
I
is it
think
that early?
Yes,
Oh, goodness.
46.
Well, the weight
Justin
of dart was
requires
okay.
68.
He's massive. Is he up to the task?
Game
There's your
shot on the
answer.
second leg. Justin Smith.
Justin Smith replies with a 15 dart hold of his own. This is a magnificent
Third leg,
game.
it's Andy to throw
Both
first.
players
Game on.
really quick out of the blocks. Just to show you how quick a start they've both made. 106 plays 108.
He said something there that actually concerns me a little bit, and it would concern the rest of the field.
140.
He said Justin Smith must have took so much confidence from winning that Challenge Tour. This guy, I've shared a practice room with him many times. He does not lack confidence.
100.
No.
And if you make him even more confident,
Well, the only way you get more confident is by winning. You know, because that's genuine confidence. It's not having confidence in playing well in practice or, you know, playing well against your mates down the pub. But when you turn up and win a
97.
Challenge Tour, what that gives you is real belief.
it gives you confirmation of what you've been doing, doesn't it? It gives you the confirmation of what you
140.
believe you can achieve.
That's the word I was looking for.
Not only that, he managed to get an invite into the Players' Championship number 30, something, again, I saw on his socials that he took very well in his stride, said it was good experience.
140.
Obviously, the Pro Tour is where he wants to go, and you won't put him too far away at Q School next year.
57.
If he carries
And you
this
require
form over to Q
124.
School in January, he'd certainly be amongst the favoured group of players to secure a tour card for 2023. 12 for double 16
92.
after 12. That's a little unfortunate. Always a possibility that when you go out wide to the right,
94. And you require
that's the angle the dart's
32.
coming in at, isn't it? At the moment, this is vintage Andy Hamilton. Won't want to be giving Justin Smith a go at 110. And he
Game shot
won't.
on the third
A
leg.
very,
Andy Hamilton.
very controlled dart to find the double 8. And guess what? It is another 15 darter.
Fourth leg, it's Justin to throw first. Game on.
This one clipping along at quite the pace, quite the
45.
standard. And in Group A, which happened Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, we picked up on something with Andy Hamilton. And that is match 1, he tends to play his best stuff. He's able to have all that time in the practice room, all that
59.
preparation to get ready for the first game, and then he doesn't quite sustain that level. Granted, he's throwing over 100 average at the moment. That's going to be
85.
some level to try and sustain throughout the day. But again, this goes back to when we look at events that might be coming up for Andy Hamilton, such as potentially the Seniors World Championship, where if he's able to prepare properly, could blow the field away with
96.
these sort of stats.
Yeah, with these kind of numbers, absolutely. Of course, the initial couple of days, it is just prepping for that one game a day, which he has proven.
60.
I think the majority of his high averages have come in the opening matches of the 3 days of Group A, and he's doing it again here and some.
Speaking of that Seniors World
85.
Championship, the deadline for the qualifier for the World Seniors Championship is 12 o'clock tonight. You have 1 hour, 45 minutes.
140.
Make
To
this,
change your life.
Yeah, it pretty much could. It's a £40,000 prize fund played on TV with legends of the game. Consider this your last reminder. You have less than 2 hours to get your entry in.
121.
WorldSeniorsDarts.com. Can all be done online.
97.
And don't forget,
And you require
you don't want to play in it,
140.
but you want to come and watch it and watch the likes of Andy Hamilton, Phil Taylor, Bob Anderson, etc. Tickets are available via dartshop.tv at the Circus Tavern in February, but be quick.
100.
I won't be able to get you any tickets.
74.
It's got to go.
54. And he
You could
required
see He
40.
knew that as well. Gave himself a little come on, little tiny pep talk, and then pulled it a little bit low. Andy Hamilton looking very good on the outer
Game
ring. In
shot on
fact,
the
he's looked very
fourth
good on
leg.
everything. He's
Andy
very good on the
Hamilton.
dartboard right now, never mind the outer ring. 101 average for Andy Hamilton. And he's
Fifth leg, it's
one
Andy
away
to throw
from
first.
wrapping this one
Game
up
on.
and kicking off his Group B campaign pretty much perfectly.
Yeah, and at 4-6, I thought that did represent value, especially on the basis of what we've seen all
121.
week in terms of the opening match performances. And one thing this has
59.
shown in regards to Justin Smith's form, it's right up there. He is most definitely going to be in the mix on the back of this display.
Yeah, sometimes, especially in these early games, you've just got to take one on the chins and
96.
move on.
Yeah, well, when someone's averaging 102 against you, you just hold your hands up and say, well, fair play. There's not too
60.
much I could have done about it. Just crack on with the next one, and you won't have too long to wait. But it's not going to get any easier because Justin Smith's next match is against Martin Adams. It's like literally
140.
jumping out of the fire into the frying pan.
Martin Adams, of course, had that
100.
amazing
And
day
you
yesterday,
require
won all 5 matches. So if
144.
we're talking about form, and we're picking out Andy Hamilton and Justin Smith for form, Martin Adams has to be right up there as well.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a quick look to see if he won his final game on
42.
Tuesday.
Well, there's not much Justin Smith can do now except cross his fingers and hope. Andy Hamilton already on 102. Justin Smith can't leave a
59.
finish, so
And you
Hammer's got
require 102.
6 darts from here, which, on everything we've seen from him so far, is way too many opportunities.
Yeah, Martin Adams has won
70.
6 of his last 7. But he is 5-0 for Tuesday. For Wednesday, sorry. Lost his final game of the day on Tuesday.
75. And he required 32.
To wrap it up in double quick time. Likes the double 8.
16.
He might not like it as
Justin, you
much at the
require
moment.
148.
He won't if Justin takes 148 out and the shot's on.
92. And he requires
Almost dishing out
16.
a little bit of pain there, but we said earlier, Andy Hamilton has too many opportunities. He's used a couple of them,
Game,
but he had
shot,
way too
and the
many. He bought
match.
himself far
Andy
too much time, and he
Hamilton.
was able to make those misses at the end of the game. And despite those misses, still averaged just shy of 96. That is a very, very good start for Andy Hamilton. Remember, 3 players from the 5 go through, so not as many wins needed. So when you start off with a 4-1 victory, it's going to put you in a very positive light moving forward for the rest of the night. Starting their nights and their campaigns, we've got Martin Adams 5 from 5 yesterday, and he takes on Stephen Burton, who's we're going to see for the first time this week.
Hi there, absolutely stunning start from Andy Hamilton in the opening match here on Thursday night at the Super Series. What a performance he put in. Took out 131 in the very first leg on tops and never looked back from there. Justin Smith powerless to do much about it in that meeting between the last two PDC Challenge Tour winners of the year. It went 4-1 the way of Andy Hamilton, who makes a very, very good start, just like he did actually in Group A earlier this week. Martin Adams was also in that group. He's in action in the next game. He faces Stephen Burton, who played twice in the previous series, and we're going to have a look at him producing one of his best moments last time he was here. A lovely 1-3-2 checkout. This one hit against Rob Collins during week 11 just a few weeks ago. And Martin Adams, well, he comes into tonight on a roll after winning all 5 of his matches yesterday, including that one you just saw there against the Group A winner, Thibaut Tricol of France. Now, both players actually played in the very first night here at our new venue at the Live Lounge, our opening night, the first finals night, but they managed to avoid each other despite Adams getting to the semi-finals and Stephen Burton being the eventual runner-up. So they're both trying to make their first step, to take their first step to getting there again. Let's see which one of them can do it in the company of Chris Mason and Matthew Edgar.
I was in the practice room this morning, or this evening, should I say. Getting the habit of saying morning now. Martin Adams came in and he's like, oh, my ankle, my knee, my back, my shoulder. I think it was a game of head, shoulders, knees and toes with everything that was hurting. But I am not buying it, Martin. You do not win 5 out of 5 in this field in Group A if you are that under it. So we are not buying into those problems. Stephen Burton, though, as he says, played in this a few times, has actually got quite a bit of form coming into this and has really picked back up again. He sort of went into the dark again for a little bit. He had some good times. He won 3 Challenge Tour events.
Didn't he get in the World Championship on the back of being a Challenge Tour
First
winner?
leg, it's Martin to throw
He's
first.
been in the World Championship, the
Game
Players'
on.
Championship finals as well, and that run was towards the back end of his tour card sort of years. He's had a tour card for 5 years, Stephen Burton, and within that run he beat Jermaine Watermania in the first round with a 95 average. He had a 96 average in beating Darren Webster, and it took Michael Van Gerwen to stop him on that run. An £8,000 prize fund he got for that. One nice big fat check that was. It was from there that you sort of thought Stephen Burton was going to continue an upwards trend, but when you look at it as well, we had those couple of COVID years, and who really enjoyed trying to play darts during that period of time?
Well, it scuppered a fair few players. His gradual and steady
100
progress. We've just seen one in Justin Smith. He was another player like Burton on the up. It knocked a lot of sports
85
about. Fortunately, darts was one of the few that managed to survive, and right in the very beginning of the
100
Super Series,
Martin, you require
then,
96.
of course, under the moniker of the Live League, we were the only sport that was live. Still fascinates me to this day how that worked.
80
It did. Martin there missing 8 for a 12-dart opener.
Told you I'm not buying it. I'm not having it, Martin.
60 Martin, you require 16.
It's bluffing.
This is a nice marker.
Game shot on the
That
first
just nestles
leg.
in nicely
Martin
alongside that
Adams.
one. Martin Adams kicks us off with a 15-dart leg, a holder throw, and if Stephen Burton
Second
was
leg, it's
listening
Stephen to throw
to what
first.
Martin said,
Game
Stephen
on.
was in there when Martin was listing off his big list of injuries like Chris Jericho did in the old WCW days when he did the man of
140
1,001 holds. He will be taking notice that the injured sportsman can still perform.
And of course,
100
eyes are on Stephen Burton to make sure he doesn't drop his darts down one of those holes like he did on that night that he reached the
60
final here on our opening night of action here at the new venue, the MODUS Live Lounge in Portsmouth. If you want to come along Saturday night, tickets are free. A very, very
95
unique experience. Get up close and personal. Almost like darts the old school way.
100
Lineup you'll get to see on that night. We confirm you, Thibaut Tricol. He won Group A. We'll have 2 players from Group C. You'd have seen that table at the very start, currently topped by Robert Thornton, the Seniors World Champion.
5
And then you're going to get to see 3 players from the 5 you are going to see tonight. That is either Andy Hamilton, who beat Justin Smith. The 2 players you've got on stage now, Martin Adams and Stephen Burton. And Lee
59
Cox, the London County captain, who will be starting his campaign in the next game. He'll be playing Andy Hamilton will be looking to follow up that pretty incredible performance in Game 1.
Yeah. Can't fail to be a good lineup this week in Saturday night's final.
180. Stephen, you
when
require 142.
Martin Adams is in this kind of form. That's his second 180 in as many legs.
52. Martin, you require 121.
And this Group B is very much a group that you're never really out of because of its nature of qualification criteria. We have seen players qualify and go on and win the week after
97.
not winning a
Stephen, you require
winning a
90.
match on the opening night. He'll stay there. Double 5, that's a bonus.
Game shot on the second
Beautiful.
leg. Stephen Burton.
90 finish is just what he needed to keep him in this match, because you had a bit of a feeling there that
Third leg,
Martin
it's Martin to throw
could have
first.
run away with this one.
Game on.
Yeah, in this short format, best of 7, a race to 4. Can't afford too many mistakes. It's a pretty ruthless format. And just looking at the annual win-loss records here for Stephen Burton, actually
47.
2022 has been his best year in terms of wins. He's got a 60.58 win rate.
That's not far off of his win rate actually here at the Super Series, which is it's sat at 58%. So his consistency's there, isn't it?
140.
Oh, consistency is the key, and consistency is the word I'm going to use probably a lot with Stephen Burton, because pretty much on whatever ranking system I use over the last sort of 12 months, it's all telling me around about the
45.
mid-88 average.
Which is rock solid, which can compete with people averaging mid to late 80s, of course, because it's that same amount of visits to
81.
the board, or turns, whichever you would prefer.
Well, it spans up to the 93, don't it, really? So it's 93, 30 or 50, I think it is. I mean, you can hold your own. That comes down to timing. If you've got an 88
well, it's
versus
66 visits.
140.
The difference between a 93 and a mid 80s is going out in 16 or 18, isn't it, over the course of a match?
140.
An 83 and a 93 can be competitive on the same stage. It
Yep.
all comes down to taking that opportunity, because if you throw in that level, you are going to get an opportunity somewhere. It might only be a dart or a double, or
For a 15.
a combination shot somewhere.
60. Stephen, you require
Absolutely right.
140.
This game has done a 180, no pun intended. Double 10.
120.
This was all about Martin Adams after a leg and a bit. He produced 2 180s, one in each of the opening 2 legs, but now it's all about Bertie.
30.
Well, Stephen Burton was one
Stephen, you
dart at
require
double 5,
20.
and it was only one dart. But that 90 finish, away from going 2-0 down and having his throw
Game
broken,
shot on the third
he's now
leg.
hit double 5
Stephen
again. This
Burton.
time, he's broke the throw.
A very tidy 14 darter. He's averaging
Fourth leg, it's
94.3.
Stephen
He
to
was
throw
my
first.
pick
Game on.
for this group, which raised a few eyebrows, I know, but like you, Matt, after
100.
looking across just the last sort of 6 months, or maybe the last 100 matches, all pointed that he was going to be maybe the man to go under the radar in this Group B.
95.
Just watching this game, and actually it's giving me bad memories. It's giving me flashbacks because we've just sat and watched the Aston Villa Man United game.
60.
It feels almost the same as that. Villa took a lead and Bosch straight away lost it. Took the lead again, Bosch lost it, and then lost the game 4-2.
Will be a scoreline we'll see a few times tonight.
100.
We picked up on a stat as well. In Group A, Martin Adams was 4-0 everyone, wasn't he? And the one person he didn't beat 4-0
140.
was Andy Hamilton. They're going to play tonight, so
He'd be looking to get the bagel on him, won't he?
but if he goes for that one, does he then have to try and get one over Justin, Lee and Stephen at some point as well to get the full bingo
45.
card?
Well, he nearly did bagel Justin Smith if it wouldn't have been for a lovely 15 darter. He would have bageled him 4-0 as it was. It was 4-1 to Martin.
97.
Just lost his way on it here, Martin. Write him off, of course, at your
140.
peril.
Stephen, you require 104.
I think we learned that lesson yesterday, didn't we, when he went through the card.
56. Martin, you
Everyone in
require
Group A, other than Andy
121.
Hamilton, learned that lesson as he managed to get a 4-0 victory over the lot of them.
Yeah, they're all on notice. Trouble 17. Oh, right on the wire. You could hear how close that was.
57. Stephen, you require 48. Game shot on the fourth leg. Stephen
The
Burton.
finishing and the scoring combining together is producing a very tidy performance here from Stephen Burton.
Fifth leg, it's Martin to throw first.
From 1-0
Game
down,
on.
finds himself 3-1 up, averaging very nearly 93. If you do social media, give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MSS Darts. Welcome along. If you're joining us
60.
on one of our half a dozen platforms, whether it is on YouTube or Sporty Stuff TV's website or
41.
one of their many channels on varying different platforms, welcome to the action. Great to have you along. Sit back maybe with a cup of cocoa and enjoy the tungsten.
100.
You know, I like to have a delve into the numbers beforehand, and one thing I found today was the most likely player to be involved in a
100.
4-0 tonight would be Stephen Burton. 12% of his games have gone to the 4-0 scoreline. Won 8 of those and lost 6.
45.
I'm giving that a long look and a stroke of the beard in disdain.
140.
That's 140, number 5. The only column he is behind in is the 180 column. That's 2-0 in favour of Martin.
100.
Everything else, averages, highest checkout percentage, tons and 140s, all favour this man.
100.
Who's closing in on a 4-1 win.
He's just 120 points away from making that 4-1 win happen, but that is going to be under pressure.
140.
Quite
Stephen, you
squeeze it
require
in the middle.
120.
There's the single.
60.
There was a
Martin, you
grimace on the
require
face of
56.
Stephen Burton. He fancied that, but on the same aspect, he will be well aware that he wants to get this game over because Martin Adams can come back at you. 5 times Martin Adams has been 3-0 down and come back to win, so this
No
one's
score.
not as big of a task, but he's now busted
Stephen,
shot.
you
Stephen
require
Burton
60.
to get this one wrapped up, to get his first 2 points on the board, needs just 20 and tops.
40.
Well,
Martin, you
Adams
require 56.
has been given another opportunity. He was a bit unfortunate. He was in the double next door, right in the corner of double 15, which means he must score. Has to go back to 56.
16.
Well, he had 4 darts to save it.
Stephen, you require 20.
Well, we're reaching Sinatra territory here. Oh, he's
No
done the same
score.
thing.
Same hole.
That is not a replay.
Martin, you
That was not
require
Martin
40.
Adams throwing at double 10. That was Stephen Burton.
$36. Stephen, you
Can't stay
require
out
20.
with the 15s.
No. Just edge in from there when he did, but
Game,
he eventually
shot, and
finds
the, match.
the double
Stephen
5.
Burton.
And it is Stephen Burton who gets the 4-1 win and joins Andy Hamilton on 2 points plus 3. Well, the averages due to the missed doubles took a bit of a hammering there, down to 84.18 in the end, but 5-4 in the 140 column. But look at that, 4 from 11, even with all those missed doubles at the end. And it is Stephen Burton who makes a winning start. When we come back, Andy Hamilton back in action, and our first look at Lee Cox.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series for this first evening session of the week. And we've just seen Stephen Burton come back from losing the first leg against Martin Adams to win that match 4-1. It's the same scoreline Andy Hamilton beat Justin Smith by in the opening match of the night. Burton averaging around 84. That's 10 points fewer than Andy Hamilton managed, but it was a doubling that was a problem for Martin Adams in that one. Won his 5 matches yesterday, but he's off to a losing start tonight. The points don't carry over into Group B, unfortunately, for Wolfie. Andy Hamilton is now back in action. He's taking on Lee Cox, who's appearing for the first time this evening. Last time Lee was here, he made it through to finals night, where he managed to beat Danny Lauby in his opening match 4-3, as you can see here, but then lost his next match 4-2 and was cruelly denied a semi-final spot. As for Andy Hamilton, well, as I said, it was a fantastic start for him this evening. He took out this 1-3-1 checkout in some style with a couple of double tops. in the opening leg, and he never looked back against Justin Smith in that one. A superstar, a standard-setting start for the former World Championship finalist. He'll be looking to continue that in what is his first ever meeting against Lee Cox. Let's see how it pans out in the company of Chris Mason and Matthew Edgar.
Yeah, Andy Hamilton hit the ground running tonight. He obviously wants to get his place booked for Saturday very early. You're never out of this group, but you can be out of it in the top end pretty quick if you can get your wins on the board. And then depending on how the other games go, Lee Cox, the London County captain, 39-year-old, the crafty Coxie. See him on the Challenge Tour. He's attended Q School for a couple of years. Didn't actually do too bad at Q School this year. Wasn't too far away from a tour card. Someone I've had a few chats with in the past, and when you look at areas of what he feels his level of improvement needs to be, he reckons it's on the outer ring. And obviously now I'm trekked to lovely data sheets and stats, and one thing that's
First
probably
leg, it's
better than
Lee
he
to throw
thinks it is.
first.
He's actually at a
Game on.
32% finish rate, which
Isn't too shabby.
it's not too shabby at all. It shows possibly that this is just something that's in the mind of Lee Cox. But what also
50.
it does show, and although it's such a small difference, that number has just dropped shy of the 33%, which means everybody else in this group's over 33%. So if you put 3 darts in the hand of all these players, Lee
99.
Cox is the most likely to miss
Yep.
in that situation, which is why he's the outsider of this group, just for that very, very small fraction.
One of the most, I'd say
180.
the most impressive stats, but that's a pretty impressive way to get involved in the opening leg of this one. Is Andy Hamilton, who's got a big sample
41.
of matches. He is playing his 65th match in the Super Series. His running percentage in terms of checkouts,
60.
38.37 over those 64 matches. That's outstanding.
Well, he's been the best double hitter this week, hasn't he? 38.98%, but that peak came on Tuesday where
Well,
it's a
that's
big
running
sample.
at his running average, isn't it? So that just shows you that sample is accurate.
Remember Tuesday, 48.48.
Yeah, outstanding,
Nearly
wasn't it?
50% on the daily double in percentage. He played 16 legs that day.
100.
So a big sample of legs, 33 darts roughly used to win those 16 legs of darts.
This week he's had a personal best high finish, that wonderful 167 we've seen a highlight from a little earlier, and his highest ever
140. Lee
PB
require
in terms of match
111.
average, 103.27.
$79. Andy require 81.
This is for possible 14 dart break of throw. 57.24. Oh dear. Double.
45. Lee require 32. Game shot on the first leg. Lee Cox.
That is a good dart. Last dart in hand there for Lee Cox. It's the opening leg, and that's going to settle him into this quite nicely.
But we were talking
Second
about
leg,
that
it's Andy to
stat,
throw
and he had
first.
4 darts in
Game
that
on.
leg to win it, which does match that number below the 33.33%.
One of the things that is good,
140.
and I know a lot of the players watch these games back, and they can pick up on some of the things that we're saying, and it guides in the direction of where to work on their game. And
58.
here's another stat that's a little bit alarming for me when we look at the Lee Cox data. When winning, his average drops. He plays better when he's chasing a game rather than dictating the pace. In this game, he's got the throw against Andy
57.
Hamilton. So really, we're looking at Lee Cox to be the pace setter in this game.
Yep, absolutely. Again, that
87.
those numbers will correlate to a. They'll they'll collate to a. A mindset in the game, which is something that you could actively change at some point, or make a conscious decision to think, well, if I'm in this situation, I've got to do
96.
A, B, or C. He's played over 100 times for London County. He's got plenty of experience.
97.
We bang on about the numbers quite a bit, but what we're doing is we're looking for patterns or areas that may dictate these games. Things that we might see crop up, potential stories.
134.
And
Potential flaws, but also ability in certain areas, like you said about how his average drops.
59. And he
when
requires
in
74.
front. That's a mindset. That's something that can be changed.
He
34.
got there in the end, his left tops. Leacock's way back on 200 here, so nothing you can do on this occasion.
81. And
Just
he
trying to apply
required
a bit of
40.
pressure and hope for a miss, but with 3 darts in hand, this man rarely misses. That was brave, wasn't it?
He thought he didn't miss
Game
there,
shot
didn't
the
he? He was
second
already on his
leg.
way.
Andy
We
Hamilton.
used to say in our local, reel them in.
Yeah.
And everyone used to sit there doing the fishing actions.
Yeah, we do the same.
Third leg, it's Lee to throw first. Game on.
Plastic bottles here, conscious of our
140.
efforts for recycling.
134.
Mentioned in the opening bit there that Lee Cox has been
80.
playing quite a bit on the Challenge Tour recently. Running just a shy under an 83 average for the season on that one, which is around about an 18 dart game. So 6 visits to the board, give or take a little bit either side.
135.
Guess what? His darts used was in his opening holder throw in this match.
47.
It's as if history has a habit of repeating itself.
Funny that. Just tried to crash
85.
that one in. Found it with dart 3. Down to a 147. Very apt with
140. And you require
Snooker getting underway
147.
on Saturday, as of course is the Grand Slam of Darts on Sky Sports. Really looking forward to that Saturday afternoon. A little trip down to Gunners Wharf for me Saturday, bit of shopping. Little afternoon
53.
in front of the
Lee
telly before we
required
both come back
94.
for finals night. May go double-double. We did go double-double.
54. And you require 94.
Ooh, old school. Double 16 for a breaker throw. A 2-1 lead.
Game shot on the third
That
leg.
is pretty
Andy
much
Hamilton.
bang in the middle for Andy Hamilton as he secures back-to-back legs.
Fourth leg, it's
But
Andy
more
to throw
importantly,
first. Game on.
it's a breaker throw.
Now remember what I said. Lee Cox tends to play better when he is not leading. He's just been broken, he's 2-1 down.
60.
And only 60, so a glimmer of hope for Lee Cox.
96. 60.
Oh, what a great 60. Actually, all the points touching right in the middle of the top wire, but above it, unfortunately.
76.
Yeah, sometimes you have a really well thrown dart, you get some really nice grouping, you just get no reward. We saw this earlier, and then the next visit was a 180.
140.
History repeating itself again there. Andy Hamilton, where he's hit the most 180s so far this week. He's had 20 across his games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And
100.
Martin Adams had 17. He hit 2 in his last game, so he's just 1 behind him. And anybody else who's going to catch those 2 up in this group is going to have to go some, because they are 15 games behind.
137
for the week, but not too shabby. Got to come down.
99.
Sensibly,
And you
does
require
come down to
104.
leave the far easier 130. A much more achievable finish than the 129 in terms of its difficulty. Double 16 may matter not.
72. Lee, you require 130.
So he just needs the 1 treble 20 to give himself a poke at the ball. If he gets 2, it's double 5. If he gets
That's
3...
the danger. That's the danger. You can be a little bit too aggressive, and that's exactly what he's done. In this short race, it's not like it's a long game where you can afford to
140.
be aggressive.
And
Give
you
yourself
require
that opportunity.
32.
Will he get another?
Game shot on
Andy
the
Hamilton
fourth
does
leg.
not give out too
Andy
many
Hamilton.
opportunities. Sort of reminds me of, is it Shane Burgess who mentioned about Phil Taylor not giving out too many
Well, he
opportunities?
does.
Lead to throw
161,
first.
164,
Game on.
167, 170. Yeah, great line from Shane Burgess. Good luck to Shane. He will be at the World Seniors
45.
qualifiers this weekend. It'll take us a good 10-15 minutes to bring all the updates when we go on air Saturday night at 10 o'clock.
You've still got 1 hour, 3 minutes to get your
99.
entry in. The deadline is 12 o'clock. I just get the picture. There's going to be someone sat there in the 50s,
Yeah.
sat home going, oh no, I forgot about that. I need to do that. And rushing to do it now. And be like, cheers,
121.
Edgar, thanks for that. You've just made me not miss the deadline.
Well, if they meet the deadline, qualify and go on to win it, I hope they buy you a pint, pal. Or maybe a Pokemon card or something, I don't know.
77.
You just have the money.
$115.
Made a note at the
He's
point.
made a few over the years.
At the point that
100.
Lee Cox went 2-1 down, I made a note of the average. It was bang on 84. He's now around about the 88 mark, which further confirms the fact that when he's
28.
behind, he raises his levels, which is a very good quality to have.
Andy, of course, had a bit of an advantage here, not only having already played 3 days this week,
140.
having played 1 match already tonight. It's just the way it works out. Will be reversed tomorrow, of course. Lee Cox will be on first tomorrow night. He's on last
140.
this evening.
And do you require 85?
That's added a little bit of pressure for the 85 because this is for the win, of course. And to make it back-to-back full 1 wins, perfect first start.
Game, shot,
And a pretty
and the
perfect
match.
second start.
Andy Hamilton.
And Andy Hamilton does make it 4-1 and 4-1 in his opening 2 games of the night. His average in his opening match was 95.88, and he's backed that up with a 94.96 in this one. Lee Cox, not too shabby, 87.62, which is a equivalent of a 29 plus average. Only the 1/180 in the match going to Lee Cox. When we come back, Justin Smith returns against Martin Adams.
This is the MODUS Super Series. $180.
Super stuff indeed at the MODUS Super Series, and it has been super stuff from Andy Hamilton so far tonight. A second successive 4-1 victory for the Hammer, as he got the better of Lee Cox following his early win against Justin Smith. Same scoreline, almost the same average as well. Very, very impressive stuff from Andy Hamilton, who is looking very, very good at the start of Group B. Attention now turned to a meeting between Justin Smith and Martin Adams. Adams went down 4-1 to Stephen Burton in his opening match, but he has played some decent stuff this week. He's been here from the beginning of the week, played in Group A. The highest checkout he hit was a 1-2-3 finish. This one against Andy Hamilton on Monday, and of course went on to win all 5 of his matches on Wednesday. Did Wolfie? Remarkably, however, Adams has never hit a finish of more than 160 in some 362 matches at the Super Series. Justin Smith has, though, 170 hit there earlier on at the Super Series. In contrast to the previous match, when the pair had never met before, this pair have met plenty of times in the several different stages of the evolution of this competition. They played from home, they played in the Online Darts Live League in Southampton, but here they are meeting on the Super Series stage for the first time. Now, usually it goes the way of Wolfie, 8-4 the head-to-head, but they go head-to-head at the Live Lounge for the first time. Let's see which way this one goes with Mason Matt.
Thanks, Murph. Yeah, plenty of previous between the two, but in more recent times, Phase 4, Week 3, and in Group B, when we were in Southampton, these two had a couple of cracking games, didn't they? And it was Justin Smith on the Thursday night who went down 4-1 emphatically to a rampant Wolfie who averaged 106.33. But it didn't take long for Justin to get revenge. On the Friday night, it was Justin Smith's turn to win 4-1 with 100.50. That tells me these two don't mind playing each other.
Well, they've firmly got used to it now, haven't they? Plenty of head-to-head between the two.
First leg, it's Justin to throw
they both
first.
have had a game
on.
this evening. Justin Smith lost 4-1. Martin Adams also lost 4-1, but I think it's the way in which they both lost those games. Martin Adams
60.
came out the traps absolutely flying, was well over the 100 average. Was looking like he was about to go 2-0 up and break the throw of Stephen Burton, and when he took that 90 out, Martin just completely deflated. He ended with a 79 average, where Justin
85.
Smith had a much more group qualifying average, around about the 92.
Yeah, in defeat.
140.
Yeah, Martin started his night against Stephen Burton with a 15 dart hold with a 180 in the leg, and then started leg 2, hit another 180 in the leg, and then it all went
62.
a little bit Pete Tong.
He hit a 180 in the opening leg of his first match, and he's done it again here. One of those exciting players to watch, isn't he? We said earlier on, when it's going well, it just looks so easy.
180. Justin, you require 121.
These two couldn't be more different in their approach.
85.
Martin Adams, an aimer, a much more measured thrower. As you can see, sights the dart in the dominant eye. You watch Justin Smith and it's
134.
all about
Justin,
feel.
you require 36.
He is a thrower. Double 8.
Game
Chose
shot in
to
the first
split.
leg. Justin
Chose
Smith.
well a 15 dart hold for Justin Smith.
Not surprised he chose to split. Justin Smith is an absolute
Second leg,
demon
it's Martin to throw first.
on double
Game
8.
on.
Here we go again. Edgar's stats. Get the alert bell on, because I had a little look through the stats again. Of course I did.
Not like you.
And Justin Smith
You do find these amazing nuggets.
28.
on double 8, throwing 132 darts at it in his whole Super Series lifespan.
60.
And he's hit it 62 times. That's 47.73% return rate on double 8.
Wow.
That's just increased even more with
85.
that hit.
Bear with me.
180.
Might be a 180 demon at this rate. He's got 2 already in this match.
$140.
Said earlier that they're very different in their approach. One thing that's not different is the facial hair approach. A very similar beard there, very bushy. It makes reference to that because Justin Smith's nickname is actually the Bearded Dragon. And I asked him, I said, doesn't that make too much of a commitment that you've always got to have a beard?
78.
And he assures
Justin
me
required
that he will be
121.
spending every day while he's on planet Earth with a beard.
55. Martin, you require 170.
We've seen this already this week. That was by Jesus Nogueira. Won't be seeing it here from Martin Adams.
$100. Justin, you require 66.
Well, I've just found out why Justin Smith likes the split after the 36 going inside. Because
Game
his
shot on the second
return
leg.
rate on
Justin Smith.
double 9 is half of that of what it is on double 8.
Third
So
leg, it's Justin to throw first. Game on.
Conscious decision. Burning a dart pays dividends.
140.
Do you think that's just something he does because of how he feels about it? Or do you think maybe he might have been looking at the same sort of data sheets that we've been scouring over?
No, I think when you miss a double with some regularity, you're aware of that
100.
it's just not for you, and you think, well, I know I love double 8 because he probably has had spells where he just doesn't miss it, so it's
43.
just an instant decision he makes. There was no hesitation, was there? When he went inside on the double 18, he just boom, straight away split.
60. $55.
Like with all those doubles that don't break down, when you've got 2 in hand, it's just a totally different approach to when you have 3. You know, when you've got 3 in hand, you want to be aggressive. So there isn't a wasted dart where you've got that opportunity to then go 1 double 4. With 2 in hand, you tend to just push it in the direction.
Well, if you think about the opportunity, if you
100.
split and you go 2 double 8, you're giving yourself 1 dart at the double. If you throw at the double 9 and you come inside, you give yourself 1 dart at the double. If you go outside, you're going to get 2. So actually, the only thing you're going to do is actually benefit from a potential extra dart.
140.
But with 2 in hand, you're not really, you're going for the double, but you're not aggressively going for the
30.
double like he did
Martin,
with
you
the double 8
require
with 1 in hand.
78.
But currently the stats look like he's making the right choice, of course. That's why having
38.
stats eliminate
Justin, you
opinions.
require 133.
Well, it's looking
44.
like
Martin,
a
you
break back
require
for Martin
40.
because Justin's just gone completely missing in this leg. Still wants 89 after 18 darts. Is it going to be more double trouble for
20.
Wolfie? There's your answer.
Justin, you require 89.
Gives his darts a wipe down with the dragon of the Welsh flag.
Game shot on the
That
third
is a
leg.
fantastic
Justin
dart there
Smith.
from Justin Smith. He was given an opportunity by Martin Adams and he just said, thank you very much.
Fourth leg, it's Martin to throw first. Game on.
Darts Cymru. I'll be very proud of that one.
Wipes the darts down again with that flag. He should do that before every shot if that's the result.
135.
Carrying it everywhere with him.
I'll be pinching that later.
Oh, he's got to go wipe his darts again. Justin, go back to that table and wipe
180.
your darts with that towel. Oh, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, he listened.
$140.
Boo.
I was going to say, could you imagine if he did a 9-darter after that? He would
97.
literally have to wipe his darts every time before. Fans of Martin Adams,
180.
don't be too alarmed. He has been 3-0 down 5 times before in Super Series format and came back and won. And against a good list, Kieran Tian, Gary Stone,
140.
Connor
Martin, you
Heenahan,
require
Kevin Painter and
46.
Conan Whitehead.
Wow. 16.
30.
And the double troubles.
Justin, you require
continue.
84.
Will he pay the ultimate price?
And that was to start that process, but that process might never begin. Justin Smith can wrap
Game,
this up
shot, and the
and
match.
condemns Martin
Justin
Adams, who's been
Smith.
dishing out 4-0 victories all week in Group A, now receives one of his own, and Justin Smith takes off that leg difference from that 4-1 defeat to Andy Hamilton and rockets up the league table. A very solid performance there of a 95. Add that to his 91 from earlier, and that is why we're tipping Justin Smith up to be quite a danger in this group. Martin Adams played his part, and despite missing 6 starts at double, still around the 98 average. Good game all around. And coming up next, got Stephen Burton, who's going to hope to keep on the winning trail, taking on the London County captain in Lee Cox.
Welcome back. Well, it's been a night of darting dominance so far at the Super Series this evening, and the biggest win of them all came in that match before the break. The Battle of the Beards, won by Justin Smith, the bearded dragon, getting the better of Wolfie Martin Adams, who had an average of almost 98 but missed 6 darts at double, the exact same amount that Justin Smith threw, but he hit 4 and got the whitewash win. Adams getting a second drubbing of the night, having lost 4-1 in his opener. That was against Stephen Burton, and we can see him getting the better of Martin Adams. Right here, confirmation of that 4-1 victory in Bertie's first outing of the evening. Lee Cox, in contrast, well, he was on the wrong end of hammering, and he had the opportunity to make it close here, but fluffed this 130 check out and was very, very disappointed with himself. Hamilton returned, won that leg, and went on to win that match 4-1. So it's 3 4-1s and a 4-0 so far tonight, as all the players try and fight it out to take one of the 3 places available in this group at finals night on Saturday. And just a quick reminder before we get into this one, you could be here as well on Saturday nights. Tickets available for free via dartshop.tv. You might even manage to get yourself a selfie with some of the players and maybe even meet our commentary team, Chris Mason and Matthew Edgar, but don't let that put you off.
I'll even let them maybe buy me a sherbet. We both will be around the venue as the fans come in to watch. We don't have a problem with doing a few selfies, mate, do we?
No, just £5 each, and no, only joking. We'll
Tenner.
Stephen Burton kicked off his campaign well, 4-1 victory over Martin Adams. It's always good, even if you're playing a bit of an out of sorts, Martin Adams, to get that victory against him. It's always nice to beat a multiple-time world champion, and
First
that will set Stephen Burton's night off and confidence off quite well. Lee Cox played better than Stephen Burton as far as the averages are concerned in his defeat to Andy Hamilton, and he followed that trend of going behind and then raising it.
97.
We've been looking over Lee Cox and keep mentioning that he's the London County captain. Part of that's going to come down to the longevity and the commitment that he has shown to that county system and to that team. 104 appearances that Lee Cox has put in now. Just to give you a bit of context behind that number, the county system would only allow 9 matches per year, or per season. So if we look at that, if he played every game, that would have been a career that spans over 12 seasons.
Plus the 2 seasons they lost because of lockdowns and that.
So he's been committed to this system, travelling around the country and representing London since probably his early to mid-20s.
Yeah, because he would have had to have played Super League for some time before getting picked, of course.
140. Stephen, you require 164.
If you're not familiar with the county system's picked off the Super League. The Super League, you get your averages and they put like a table out
40.
where everyone can see what you're doing, all your stats and numbers, and there's a selection committee that select the players to represent.
Who did you play county for?
Warwickshire.
Yeah, thought so.
60. Stephen,
They
you
always
require
traditionally had a good side, didn't they?
124.
Yeah, for such a small county, always put one together. We tend to find that we had a very good A team. But we didn't
very strong, littered with internationals, of course, and that's
84.
how you get
Lee,
picked for, well, you used to get
106.
picked for England or Scotland, Wales, via that route, via your county averages.
Game shot on the first leg. Lee Cox.
Lee Cox breaks throw in leg 1 with a 106 out and a 15 dart.
Second leg,
break
it's
a
Lee
throw.
to
He was the
Game on.
big outsider of the 2. Burton, the 2-5 favourite, 7-4 shot. Lee Cox.
140. 140.
Imagine Leacock sort of played his county darts, or maybe still does for
54.
Suffolk.
140.
Stephen Burton from up by the Ipswich sort of area, isn't he? Don't know if he's an Ipswich Town fan or not. Might have to try and find that one
45.
out.
I think so. Got the Modus Live Lounge fly making an appearance.
Maybe it's a moth. Have you opened your wallet? Have you
81.
any time recently?
Ooh, pots and black kettles. My goodness. You're airtight.
87. Stephen, you require 140. 100.
Good response here from Stephen Burton. He got broken and then leaves tops after 12.
Yeah, you can't ask much more than
43.
that.
Stephen, you require 40. Game shot on the
It
second
is.
leg. Stephen Burton.
Instant break back from Bertie. A 13-dart break of throw.
Third leg, it's Stephen to throw first. $60.
Stephen Burton started the season off very well. Got one of those Challenge Tour titles in the opening sort of visits, which meant that
58.
he's had a lot of invites when it comes to the Pro Tour. He's pretty
Yeah.
much played the year as if he had a tour card.
140.
Great to see
100.
my pub team managing to win without me this evening. Another 7-2 win for the Saddlers. The racehorse. Well done, boys. I know you're all
85.
tuned in. James Richardson just confirming that, yes, Stephen Burton is a Ipswich fan, as is
85.
James Richardson, as is Kevin Painter. All three, of course, have played in the Super Series.
140.
As is Keith Deller, of course.
100. Stephen, you require 76.
Stephen Burton on a bit of a run here. Tops for back-to-back 15s.
56. Lee, you require
Unless
158.
Lee Cox can pull one out of the top draw. Well, that's not going to happen. Trouble one. The treble he needed.
41. Stephen, you require 20.
Double five.
10. Lee, you require 117.
Double trouble for Burton. Just one from five. 17 and tops for a steal.
Game shot on the third leg.
And
Lee
a steal
Cox.
it is. Lee Cox, 2 from 2 on the doubles. Stephen Burton, 1 from 5, and that's where he finds himself.
Fourth leg, it's Lee to
2-1
throw
down,
first.
and that's a
Game on.
third consecutive break of throw.
It's not just 2 from 2 on the doubles, but they've both been tumpless outs. This is from the self-proclaimed
100.
struggler on the outer ring.
Yeah, of course, it was a 106 out in leg one, wasn't it?
Wouldn't mind struggling that bad. One thing that sort of slipped under our radar a little bit actually here is I was just looking at what
59.
Stephen Burton's done on the Pro Tour this year. He actually made a Pro Tour quarter-final. Now, to make a quarter-final of a Pro Tour, that means you have to win your board,
58.
which will have 2 seeds on it, and then win another game as well. Listen to this roll of honour. He started his day beating Kevin Burness, somebody who we've seen in this format last year,
134.
and went on to win his tour card. He then beat the bottom seed on the board, which was Raymond van Barneveld, 5-time world champion. He then beat the top seed on the board,
100.
Michael van Gerwen,
Wow.
6-4. Then in his last 16 game, he beat a player, another seeded player, should I say, who's been doing
58.
huge bits this year, Martin Schindler.
Wow.
Before
That is some run.
lost out to Gezi Price in the quarters.
140.
That is the pedigree. The man you are watching right now in the black and yellow.
$100. Lee required 103.
Very much like Justin Smith, you'd expect
39.
Stephen Burton to be right
Stephen,
in
you
the mix for
require
a tour card in
150.
January when Q School is upon us. Oh, double 15 for a beauty.
120.
Third
Lee
ton
requires
plus out
64.
of this match alone.
Game shot on the
Well,
fourth
the man
leg.
who's dodgy
Lee
on the
Cox.
doubles is immaculate right now. 3 from 3.
Fifth leg, it's Stephen to throw first.
3 is he.
Game on.
Leg score he's got, one more away from getting his first points on the board and correcting that
140.
scoreline, that 4-1 defeat to Andy Hamilton, who's dished out 2 4-1 defeats actually. Andy Hamilton beating Lee Cox and Justin Smith by the same scoreline. Can he inflict
77.
the same on Martin Adams in the next?
At the moment, Stephen Burton has an average over 10 points higher than his
100.
opponent, but finds himself 1-3 down. And that is because of that. Just 1 from 6. He's had darts in
100.
each of the last 2 legs. One at the 150, of course.
I don't even think it's just because of that. If we go a little bit deeper and jump in your
57.
time machine, go backwards. If you're watching on YouTube, you can scroll back a couple of games and you'll remember we was talking about how the average can be 10 points difference with an 83,
100.
93 sort of average, and it'll be a competitive game and you'll get chances. Lee Cox had chances. He had 106 and he's had 117, and he's took them.
80.
That is why he can compete with a much lower average, because he's took those low ton shots.
Yep.
We said it this morning when we was watching Cam
140.
Crabtree.
Stephen, you
You don't
require
have to win
124.
every single moment.
No, just the important bits. Ball.
99.
The line was good.
Lee, you require 84.
Yeah, Stephen Burton is winning many of the battles, but the war is being won by Lee Cox,
Game,
who
shot,
ends
and
that
the
game
match.
4
Lee
from
Cox.
4 on the doubles. Give yourself a smile, Lee. You don't need to be waving your arms at the board with that one. A great result there for Lee Cox. 4-1 victory. That puts his legs back on the right track after a 4-1 defeat earlier on. There it is. Give yourself the G up, Lee Cox. You've just won 4-1. You're on the board. And he's competitive with that 90 average. Someone who is highly competitive. He's won both his games so far. Andy Hamilton, he's up next against Martin Adams.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where we've seen a night of just one-sided affairs. Matthew Edgar has come up from the commentary box to talk through what we've seen so far. We'll start with that previous match, Matt, because Lee Cox, he's meant to be useless at doubles. He wasn't the case in that one, was it?
Well, he never missed a single dart or double, did he? And it was the combination finishes as well, the 107, 106 with 84 as well in the last one as well. So really good checkouts. He had an opportunity, he took them, and got a good 4-1 scoreline. And we picked up the averages in the middle of the part of that game that actually was a 10-point difference. But we did warn people early on that actually you still get opportunities when the averages are of them sort of levels, and he took every single one of them.
We'll have a look at the table for the first time this evening, because as we said, it has been one-sided affairs, but it's generally evened itself out, apart from for two players, because Andy Hamilton has had 2 convincing wins, Martin Adams has had 2 heavy defeats.
If this was Group C, Martin Adams would start to be getting concerned now. Bad leg difference and no points on the board. But we've seen in Group B that actually you can put a run together even on the last day. You can lose all 4 games today and still do it tomorrow. So no one's going to be getting the old marker pen scrubbed through them today.
Yeah, and almost perfectly set up for the next game, which is Andy Hamilton against Martin Adams. And they both were in Group A earlier this week. They played each other a couple of times. Adams got the better of Hamilton. Sorry, Hamilton got the better of Adams when they met on Tuesday. A 4-1 win for the former World Championship finalist. But then Wolfie got his revenge yesterday. It was the match that completed his perfect day, but the only man in that group that he didn't beat 4-0.
Yeah, he managed to get a 4-0 victory over everybody else in that group. He's still got an opportunity to get that over Andy. He's got 2 games with him today, but then do we have to start saying that he's got to get over everybody else to complete the full set?
Well, does he need to beat Andy by 4-0, 4-1 at this point, or is it just about getting points on the board right now?
Points is the first deciding factor. Legs only come into that when people are on the same. So at the moment, it's all about points.
Well, which way will the points go in this one? Let's find out. Matt is going to run downstairs and join Chris Mason, who is waiting to talk you through this one.
Thank you very much, chaps. Well, I can't help but think on what we've seen tonight and this week. Andy Hamilton will take this one. The odds compilers go 5 to 6, each of 2. They haven't got a Scooby-Doo. Andy is averaging over 95 for the night. He's won both his matches by the same scoreline. A 4-1 win against Justin Smith with a 95-88. And a 4-1 win over Lee Cox with a 94-96. The finishing has been good, including a beautiful 1-3-1 in the opening match of the night.
Game on.
Treble 17 tops for Andy Hamilton. Martin Adams is the one on the back foot. He lost his opening match with a 79-79 4-1 to Stephen Burton. And then the man who's been handing out 4-0s was on the end of one to Justin Smith, who beat him 4-0 with a 95-43. A much better performance from Adams in defeat.
140.
97-79.
I think, you know, what are we now, quarter way through the fixtures? It's a good time to maybe review those group betting odds that happened at the start. Martin Adams was your 11 to 5 favourite, so favourite backers can be heavily concerned there because Martin Adams on -7 at the bottom of the table. Got a lot of work to do. If you like following second favourites, Andy Hamilton 13 to 5. He's giving you some run for your money. He's currently top of the
41.
table. Stephen Burton 11 to 4. Justin Smith 9 to 2. Quite like that one. And then Lee Cox was your biggest outsider, 17 to 2. In terms of the week, Martin Adams was actually third favourite for the week, 11 to 2. Not sure I like that too much after 6 days of play for a man that
140.
reckons he's got a list
Held
of
together
injuries.
by sellotape.
Thibaut Tricol, who won Group A, 4 to 1 favourite. Robert Thornton 5 to 1. I reckon if Andy Hamilton can keep anything going like we've seen from him in his first 2 games, there's going to be some nibbles at
59.
that 13-2.
Rightly so. And he's looking okay here on throw. Just a quick mention, there's even more darts on Saturday. Sorry, tomorrow
85.
night. Of course, it's the ADC belt night tomorrow night at Will Adamson's pub, the Cleveland Arms in Wolverhampton. So if you're in the area
100.
there, there's
And you
plenty
require
of
108.
ADC players and Super Series players in action. The European title match tomorrow night is between Kevin Painter and James Richardson. And those matches, of course, in future will be taking place here at the MODUS Live Lounge prior to our finals
56.
nights on
Martin,
Saturday
you require
nights.
161.
Not only if you get a ticket for the Super Series action as a bonus, you'll be able to take in some of the ADC
97.
belt matches.
And you require 52.
What an opportunity for those belt holders and those challenging for the belts to play on this wonderful stage and under the lights.
44. Martin, you require 64.
$17 on the leave tops.
Game shot on the first leg.
Andy Hamilton
Martin
being
Adams.
punished for missing 2 darts at a double. And the bonus for Martin is that's a break of throw.
Second leg, it's Martin to throw first. Game on.
Do you not fancy having a bash at one of those belts? I can imagine you walking around with a belt around your waist, and you know you've had your mini return to darts now. Quite a successful mini return actually. You won a week 12.
180.
Yeah, I wouldn't completely write off the idea. I'll have to pick my opponent, of course. Maybe if they create a
134.
commentator's belt, me and you could get at it. Maybe have a fight afterwards or something. We could get a ring on that stage.
Yeah, we had the question on social media earlier, didn't we, about
What about me and you having a fight? What have I missed? Oh, yes.
about our lineup, who we'd like to have, and
The dream lineup at the Super Series.
I can't say that my dream lineup wasn't too biased though. So I had myself in there, Phil Bars, Henry Deacon,
98.
Chris Murphy, Abby Davis. You can see where this is going. Basically put in all like the sort of commentary team, but I left yourself out. I also left Paul Nicholson out.
140.
Well, 180 has been backed up by a ton and a 140 from Martin here. Did anybody actually suggest any good ones?
Yes, yeah, I saw a few nice. I'll get 'em up.
59.
I'll have a look.
Martin, you require 81.
It's best to read them out and me try and remember.
You do have your dream lineup from those who are eligible to play. Remember, no tour card holders. But any active
Game
player
shot on the second
outside of that,
leg.
as
Martin
Martin doubles
Adams.
his lead with a really beautiful, a beautifully constructed 12 dart hold.
Third leg, it's Andy
Get
to
in
throw
touch with us
first.
at
Game on.
MSS Darts on Twitter and give us your dream lineup. 12 players, remember.
Warren Allsworth has gone for the very sort of legendary approach, and he's
140.
included someone we didn't really consider actually. Paul Lim.
Yep, good shout.
He's also got Peter Manley in there, always good value, especially when you've got Phil Taylor in the same group.
95. 100.
Well, if it's legends that you want to see, look no further than the Circus Tavern. In
59.
early February. World Seniors Championship, a player involved this week and very much involved. Robert Thornton topping Group C currently. He will be there at the Tavern defending his title.
180.
From Andy Hamilton.
That world title, of course, he won beating Martin Adams in the final.
Yep. Andy Hamilton replicating
100.
leg 2 of
And
Martin
you
Adams by
require
leaving
81.
81 after 9 with a ton, a 140 and a 180 in a slightly different order. Double 12 for an 11. In a few of these this
Game
week,
shot
and
on the
there's
third
another.
leg. Andy Hamilton.
Andy Hamilton responding, and how. 11 dart hold with an 81 checkout.
Fourth leg, it's Martin to throw first.
Last 2 legs
Game
have
on.
been won in 23 darts. An 11 from Martin. Been trumped. 12 from Martin's been trumped with an 11 from Andy.
We had a bingo caller in here. They'd say that's the legs for the leg.
38.
Only 38.
Is there a bingo rhyme for 38?
Not something I can recall ever doing, I'm
55.
afraid. Bingo. Not my thing, as you could imagine.
Well, apparently, it's Christmas cake.
81.
Something you love, actually, a bit of Christmas. How is
I
Christmas
am a fan
cake?
of cake, but I can't honestly say I'm a fan of Christmas pudding. Are you?
No.
No.
I thought that the idea was that bingos rhyme with the number. Christmas. I don't get Christmas
180.
cake 38.
Well, it's sort of.
Yeah, but surely Christmas cake would be 25. Because that would be the 25th of December. How's 38 Christmas cake?
95.
And that's the last time I'm looking at the bingo numbers for calling, because they don't make sense.
$99.
Something else that doesn't make sense is the fact that Andy Hamilton is averaging 103 in this game, 2 180s, and he's losing.
At the moment. And he knows how to take out 167.
100.
He's done it this week.
And you require 167.
Against Jesus Nogueira. We've seen a highlight of it earlier when Jesus opted out of going for the ball. Hit a 10 to leave tops, and in stepped Andy.
Yeah, we watched that earlier when I was on the
96.
balcony with Chris Murphy, and I says I love watching that finish, but watching Jesus'
Yeah,
face.
yeah, it was brilliant. Andy was handy.
$100. And you
Treble
require
13.
71.
For double 16, 13, 18 and tops.
For a level game.
Game shot on the fourth
Never in
leg.
doubt, was it?
Andy Hamilton.
This game is outstanding. The break back there. 71.
Fifth leg, it's Andy
the
to throw
checkout.
first. Game on.
He's 50% on doubles, 2 180s, 2 140s, 3 scores of between a ton and 139, and an average of 101.
And his best average this week so far is 103.27.
99.
Which was a Super Series personal best.
Could trace that down even further. Seeing Chris Murphy's
100.
lineups just come through for the 12 players that he would pick.
Let's have them all.
I think he might be buttering us up a little bit here, actually. So
Makes a change.
he's gone with Fallon Sherrick, Bo Greaves, Lisa Ashton and Bakiro Suzuki from the
84.
Women's Tour. Good lineup so far. Gian Van Veen, Graham Usher, Robert Thornton, The Power. I would love to be on a week with Phil Taylor. Really would enjoy that. Chris Mason, Mark Webster, myself,
180.
There's absolutely no chance you would get me in that week. Not sure who I'd
125.
less like to get beat by.
$85.
said earlier that you can't lose this group on the first day. You go 4 out of 4 with a good leg difference, you can pretty much get yourself
57.
through on the first
Martin,
day.
you require 136.
10 points is pretty much the cut-off, isn't it? And Andy Hamilton is only 6 points away from that, so just 3 more wins.
112. Andy, you require 136.
This is much better, though, from Martin Adams, from what we've seen from him so far today.
Well, he's backing up the average in defeat to Justin Smith, where he did average 97.79. Right now, he's averaging almost
96.
identical.
Martin, you require 24.
This shows the scoring power he had in that game against Justin Smith, because he had 6 darts at the double, didn't hit a single one.
Get that fishing rod out.
Game shot on the 5th leg.
He's just reeled
Martin
that one in.
Adams.
Gives himself a little chuckle and pushing himself one away from his first points of Group B. And
6th leg, it's Martin to
not
throw
only
first.
that, but we're playing here in
Game
league
on.
table position, top versus bottom. So if Martin Adams was to win this, it would all get congested.
That was the 3rd breaker throw in the match. You've had 2 holds. It's
61.
now Andy on the back foot. And when he was put on the back foot a little earlier, remember he was 2-0 down. He responded in 11 and 15 darts. Feel like he's going to have to do something similar.
58.
Relevant to what happens from here. This is the closest match we've had so far tonight.
There are all the other games.
100.
4-1 and 4-0 scorelines.
The 5th 180 in the match. In the last match Martin was involved in, there was 5 in the match. He hit Justin hit 3 and Martin hit 2.
96.
At the moment it's Martin that's hit 3 and Andy that's hit 2.
$100.
You sort of feel this has to be a couple of trebles. Randy Hamilton is facing down the barrel of his first
55.
defeat in
Martin,
Group
you
B.
require 160.
That treble 5 was not one of the trebles I requested. Martin Adams get 1 treble
Yeah.
here.
It's just about to say that, Matt. He'd take a ton from here, wouldn't he?
140.
And that forces Hamilton into a max, which he can no longer do. So Martin Adams looks very good here for registering his first points of his Group B campaign.
134. Martin, you
Could do
require
it.
20.
In some style. or 5.
Game, shots, and the
In a
match.
battle
Martin
of the
Adams.
player bottom of the table versus the player who's top of the table. Of course, just like this morning, the script gets absolutely ripped up. And Martin Adams, who went into that bottom of the table, now has 2 points on the board. I said earlier, legs don't matter at the moment. It's all about the points. That is the first deciding factor, and Martin Adams is now on the scoreboard. A 4-2 victory there over Andy Hamilton. Justin Smith and Stephen Burton both have 1 win on the board. They'll be looking for more. And one of them is going to get it because they are going to play each other in our very next game.
Hi there, 6 games down, 4 to go as Thursday night moves into Friday morning here at the MODUS Super Series, and Martin Adams has ensured that everybody has got points in Group B so far after that victory against Andy Hamilton. A 4-2 success for Wolfie, a good standard. The pair of them, 95.43. Adams put that finishing right from his previous defeat. Andy Hamilton has been around that mid to high 90s average all evening, and will probably be slightly disappointed that he doesn't have maximum points so far. We will take a look at the Group B table at this point, and you will see that Hamilton is still top of it, the only player with a couple of wins to his name so far. losing out to Adams in that last one, so dinting his chances of being as good as through this evening. But the next couple of players have enjoyed big wins and suffered big defeats. In fact, a 4-1 win and a 4-1 defeat for both of them, Justin Smith and Stephen Burton. Burton's victory came against Martin Adams earlier tonight, taking out this 90 checkout very nicely on double five. And it was also Adams that was accounted for by Justin Smith, the only whitewash win of the night. Brilliant bullseye here from Smith to get the better of Adams. So no dream start for anyone. Remember, we've been asking you for your dream lineups here at the Super Series. You can tweet us at MSS Darts to let us know who your top 12 would be. I put Matt Edgar and Chris Mason in mine, and Mace's declined the invitation. What kind of thanks do you get from him? And mind you, we've heard that story before, haven't we? He came here and won a week, and he's playing in the seniors next year, so I reckon he might change his mind. What are you saying, Mace?
Well, Murph, I think your lineup, you just want to see me get beat by a woman, don't you? That's what it's all about. You want to see me get thumped off Bo Greaves. We'll be seeing Bo Greaves, of course, in the World Championships, which get underway in December. I will be there, of course. For Talk Sport, as always. Looking forward to that. As will Chris Murphy.
First leg, it's Justin to throw
Abigail
first.
Davis and
Game
Paul
on.
Nicholson. Pretty much the Super Series team there.
100.
Well, what did you think of the odds on this one?
Like to try and disagree where possible with the bookies, but I think they've got absolutely nailed on.
140.
Well, they've just priced it up and said, you take your own pick. We're just going to sit out of this one. I think if we could find one little bit of data, it would have to be the head-to-head
58.
stats. Played twice before, both those games going to Justin Smith. That was in 2020. Challenge Tour number 5 in Barnsley. Justin Smith winning the last 1-8, 5-1 against Stephen
123.
Burton. And then this year at Q School, 2022, in Milton Keynes, the last 32 clash again went the way of
140.
Justin Smith. He taking that one 6-3.
Again, the tempo of this one you'd think would suit both.
100.
Both no-nonsense players. Just get up there and get them in the board.
100. Stephen, you require 138.
They've made a bright start to this match. Going to stay up.
79. Justin, you
Rightly
require
so.
103.
Double 16 is his chosen
Game
area
shot
of the
on the
board,
first
and
leg.
that's why.
Justin Smith.
And a very solid 15 dart hold for Justin Smith.
Second leg, it's Stephen to throw first.
That's
Game
his
on.
first ton-plus finish of the night. 103.
96.
His level of performance tonight has been exactly
100.
what we expected. Just shy of a 92 in defeat, and then 95 in victory over Martin Adams, 4-0. He won this one, so he's won his last 5 legs in a row.
58.
Chris Murphy asked me at the very, very start of the show. He said, what is one name you'd be surprised to not see
100.
go through to Saturday's final? And this was my pick. The 9-2 outsider of the group, the 4th in terms of the betting. But I just think he can hit levels
96.
and spurts of form that he could just blow players away in this group in
59.
about 3 or 4 legs and give himself a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, and a defeat won't particularly be too damaging because,
140.
as you mentioned, he can play in these spells of absolute brilliance where he can reel off
57.
matches in
Stephen, you
double quick
require
time.
111. 83.
left double 14. To bounce straight back.
57.
Burton was
Stephen
my pick
required
to
28.
win this group.
Game shot on the second leg.
Actually gets
Stephen
there.
Burton.
With a hold of throw of his own, an 18 darter. Burton was
Third leg,
actually
it's Justin to
my
throw
pick to
first. Game on.
win the week, which certainly surprised a few.
30.
I did pick Merckx out last week. He duly obliged. Jim McEwen winning week 1, of course. So Saturday night we'll have 3 of our
83.
12 champions of champions qualified for week 13, where the winner takes away a cool £20,000.
121.
And for a few of them, it will be a career high payday. What a way to go into 2023 that would be. Which of you plan
100.
to travel, of course, and commit to one of the many tours available?
45. 180.
First 180 of this match goes the way of Justin Smith.
Amazed we had to wait that long.
He hit 3 in his last game.
125. Justin
4-0
requires
victory over
70.
Martin Adams. He got 1 in his opening game, so that's 5 for the day so far for Justin Smith.
Game shot on the
That's 2
third
legs
leg.
in
Justin
this game.
Smith.
Nice little 15 darter there to hold.
Yeah, 70 checkout this time to go with the
Fourth leg, it's
15 dart
Stevens to
hold
throw
in leg
first.
1.
Game
the
on.
103 checkout. Another example of what myself and Edgar were touching on.
100.
How quick he can just run off these legs.
Little sign of
121.
experience there as well with a lot of the younger, faster sort of players. Even if it doesn't feel right, they just throw it anyway. When Justin there, he drew the
140.
dart back. It was in his hand. He drew it back, and it just didn't feel right. It probably just twinkled the point a little bit in the hand,
100.
and he just stopped, re-gripped, and then carried on.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the reset. All guilty of doing it from time to time, but if it's a
97.
habit you can get out of just not throwing it anyway if it doesn't feel comfortable.
140.
I've got into this week. I think he's making up words. He's twinkered the words.
Stephen, you require 164.
Make up anything you like, pal. You're the one with the microphone. Oh, ball.
Game shot on
Well,
the
we've
fourth
seen
leg.
A
Stephen
170, a 167, and now we've seen the third highest possible checkout, a
Burton. Fifth leg, it's Justin
164
to throw
from
first.
Stephen
Game
Burton.
on. 100.
For a 12 dart hold and a level game.
$43.
Maybe a bit of adrenaline coursing through the veins of Stephen Burton after that 164.
59. 100.
Tell both these two absolutely love being involved in a match like this. We love
60.
commentating on a match like this.
94. 58.
Little opportunity presenting itself here for Stephen Burton. If he's going to win this game, he's going to need to break the throw somewhere.
100.
And you don't have a lot of time in these games, and we're already halfway to the finishing line. So it's either got to be in this one or in a last leg shootout.
92. Stephen, you require
Well,
164.
He knows how to do this. Oh, surely not. Well, he wants the ball for back-to-back. 164 finishes.
139. Justin, you
He's scared
require
it.
132.
We'll be seeing the bullseye again here. Another one of those. Oh, would have left double 16. It took a horrible deflection. 73 remaining, treble 19.
78. Stephen, you require 25.
Oh, double 11. Go your own way.
3.
He was trying to go one double 12, of course, and just pulled it slightly.
Justin, you require 54.
Justin Smith, once again, reaches for the Welsh cloth. He's chosen double his double 18, but that's not landed nicely.
Game
Well,
shot on the 5th
You
leg.
wouldn't have believed
Justin
it didn't land
Smith.
nicely. He moved right and just planted the double 18 for a hold of throw, and he's now within one.
6th leg, it's Stephen to throw first. Game on.
As mentioned, Stephen Burton, if he's going to win this game, he's got to break the throw somewhere. If he's going to have that opportunity, the first thing he's got to do is hold his
60.
throw. From just looking at the record when the games go 4-3, and both of these actually have a negative record below the 50% when the games
100.
go all the way. So with that, I'll say that advantage of throw for Justin Smith is going to be mahoosive.
He's mahoosive.
40.
And he's already stolen the darts here. Start of leg 6.
100.
Take 4 tons and a 101 out, I can assure you.
I can also
45.
assure you he'd be more than happy to score 26 all the way down, on, as long as he wins the leg. Get the points on the board. He's got 2 already.
40.
Want to double that up, get to 4. 4 points wouldn't be a bad return, really, for the opening night, but he does have another game still to come as well.
Yeah, I think 4 points
60.
is minimum, isn't it? It's a 50% strike rate.
140.
And he's 3 out of 3 on the doubles. We've already seen a 4 out of 4 tonight from the man who says he
40.
doesn't like the
Justin,
outer
required
ring.
121.
He takes this out. Will be our second player. 4 from
89.
4. And it will be 4 from 4 if he hits double 16 in 1 when he returns.
Big fan of this area of the board. We told you that stat earlier.
140.
Nearly
Justin, you
50% on the
required
double 8. This
32.
is just a small notch
Game,
down.
shots,
And he does.
and
He ends the
match.
night.
Justin
Or
Smith.
that game, should I say. 100% on the doubles. 4 from 4, including 103 checkout. He joins Lee Cox in the 100% club. But he also joins Andy Hamilton on 4 points. That victory is second of the day. 4-2 victory there over Stephen Burton with a 91.27 average. We've got 3 more fixtures coming your way with Martin Adams, who got his first victory on the board, taking on Lee Cox, who also got his first victory on the board in the last game. So one of those two is going to move to 4 points, and that's coming up in just a couple of minutes' time.
Welcome back. What a match that was before the break there between Justin Smith and Stephen Burton. A fantastic display of finishing for Smith in that one. 4 out of 4, absolutely perfect on the doubles. Stephen Burton hit a 164 checkout in that match. It was actually his highest checkout ever in the MODUS Super Series, and it comes in his landmark 125th outing. But ultimately, it proved to be in vain and ended in defeat. Let's see how that result affects the Group B table as we come towards the end of tonight's action. 3 games still to play. Andy Hamilton and Justin Smith, both 2 wins from 3. Lee Cox winning half of his matches. He still has 2 to play. Burton and Martin Adams with just 1 win from 3 so far. The next one is the last outing of the night for Martin Adams. Lost his first 2 games, but then beat Andy Hamilton. And here he is, bringing the hammer down on that victory against the former Premier League player who played really well in that game, has played really well all night. So a really good win for Wolfie, that one. But Justin Smith is not the only flawless finisher tonight. And here we are going to show you a montage of Cox to enjoy. A display of fine finishing for Lee Cox in his beating of Burton earlier this evening. He was absolutely perfect in that department. Some excellent checkouts as well, and much for Lee Cox to be proud about, to take confidence into the next couple of matches. It could turn into a very, very fruitful evening for him. The last one, this 84 checkout for the 4-1 win, not missing a dart at double, just like Justin Smith in that previous game. So he takes on Martin Adams. As I said, the last outing of the night for Wolfie. Which way will it go? Well, we'll find out with Chris Mason and Matthew Edgar describing the action.
Thanks, Murph. And that's a montage I didn't expect to see. Well, we were talking about the ultimate lineups. Well, Stefan, integral part of the staff here at the Super Series. He's come up with his lineup. So, as follows: Jason Askew, the highest ever average at the Super Series and Live League. Martin Adams, most games played. Graham Usher, quickest game played. Connor Heenan, first 9-darter in the Super Series. James Richardson, first 9-darter in the Live League. Scott Marsh, first Live League winner. Kieran Tehan, first Super Series weekly winner. Conan Whitehead, first Super Series champion. Jim McEwen, first Live League champion of champions. Mark Durbridge, most 180s in a Super Series game. Josh Payne, most 180s in a Live League game. And he's also put Andy Jenkins in there, because he said if he didn't, he would kill him.
First leg, it's Martin to throw first. Game on.
Now, when you look at the betting odds, a lot of the time, what some people do is they try and pick out like the big favourites. The favourite backers jump all over those. Martin Adams is a big favourite here. 4-11 to beat Lee Cox, who is 2-1. Do you like that?
135.
Well, I get it, but not on the back of that performance that Lee produced
140.
last time out. But my bigger concern, and it was a wonderful performance, 4 out of 4, and there's 2 10+ finishes, but his average was 90.11.
140.
The last 2 matches, Martin Adams has averaged 95.43 and 97.79. Well, that tells me that
81.
Lee Cox would have to reproduce finishing of that ilk to win the match.
Personally, I'm not a fan of the price.
Well, they've played
100.
on 4 occasions before. Martin Adams has only won on 1 occasion.
140.
Interesting
Martin,
thing
you
about
require
that
126.
is look at the averages and the stats from Lee Cox. He's beat Martin Adams with a 91, a 98 and 104 average. There is something about playing Martin Adams that brings out the
98.
best in
Lee,
Lee
you
Cox.
require
Maybe that's a respect
140.
thing.
Yeah, it could well be. Could be just a little bit more focused, or could literally just put
50.
the target on Martin's
Martin
back.
required 28.
We already found that interesting stat that when Lee is in front, his averages tend to diminish.
No score. Lee required 90.
Can he keep this incredible run of finishing going with a 90? He's going to get a dart at double
Game shot on the
15,
first leg.
and that is a
Leacox.
14 dart breaker throw, and that finishing is now 5 from 5.
Yeah, when
Second
you're
leg,
going
it's
into
Lee
that
to
with
throw
that type of
first.
form,
Game
and
on.
with those positive vibes, 4 times they've played, he's won 3. But it's how he's doing it. He raises his game every time he plays Wolfie.
140.
And that's what really concerned me about those odds of around about the 1
Yep.
to 3 mark.
Totally get it.
The other thing that concerns me is the fact that we've not had a consistent Martin Adams all week. We've had Martin Adams that wins 5 from 5, but in that, he wasn't
81.
a consistent performer. He said himself, sometimes people miss darts against double against me. I'm going to hit it eventually. And he mentioned the L word. Luck.
Yeah.
57.
You know, Martin is carrying a list of injuries.
100.
That does surface itself sometimes with that rotation of the hand, what we call a Spider-Man. We saw that quite a bit in his opening game with Stephen Burton when he averaged just 79.
100.
And at that point, I feared the worst for him. I thought maybe 4 or 5 days was a bit too much,
Yep.
but he did bounce back well in his next game, 97 average, despite the fact he didn't win a leg. He missed 6 darts at a double in that game. Got a win over tabletopper Andy Hamilton.
60.
But I just don't feel we're going to see 2 games the same from Martin Adams at
No.
this stage of a week.
I agree. And Andy Hamilton's been the standout performer. He's running
60.
averages in excess of 96 for the night. He is up next against Stephen Burton in an absolute monstrous clash. And the final game will be Lee Cox against Justin Smith.
100. Lee required 144.
So he's got 16 points on the board, but the most important thing, he's got the advantage of throw. So he gets the luxury of the setup shot where you sort of feel
45.
Martin's all or nothing. Well, it
Martin
would have been all or
required
nothing, but that slipped to the
160.
5 as pushed Lee Cox from a 2 darter to a 3. I believe it's the smallest 3 darter on the board.
Correct.
45. Lee required
19, 10,
99.
double 16, 19 tops, tops. Double 10. Use the
89.
thickness of the
Martin
wire away
required
for making
115.
it 6 out of 6 on the doubles. Treble 19 for double 19. Nope.
59. Lee
2
required
5s
10.
for 2 legs.
Game shot on the second leg. Lee Cox.
Do you think maybe that Lee Cox's doubles
Third leg, it's
problems
Martin to throw
is more in his
first.
head?
Game
Because
on.
it's certainly not on the stats board tonight.
No, exactly that. I think as infectious as it is hitting doubles, it's exactly the same when you start missing them. And I think if he starts a session where he misses doubles, it tends to haunt him. He
83.
carries that over. He carries that baggage. I've said so many times. Once you get
100.
to this level and you have that ability to hit 100 plus averages with some regularity, the game is played between the ears. I think we know about this man.
60.
He will not be waving a white flag. He doesn't own one.
And now if we have a look at those odds, they've completely flipped around. The
55.
4 to 11 is still there, but you'd now get that on Lee Cox, who started the game at 2 to 1.
You call right, mate. That was literally down to the pressure.
45.
Lee Cox is putting Martin Adams under right now.
I just think if you're going to take such a short price, this is a 2-horse race. There's no draw. This is win or lose.
58.
In a first to 4 race. If you're going to be looking at those odds at 4 to 11, I want to see something a little bit more nailed on than the ingredients that was in front of us in this situation.
Absolutely. If you're looking at a short price favourite, I'd rather have the 8 to 13 about Justin Smith against Lee Cox.
Yeah, we shouldn't be able to look at a 4 to 11 shot and go, but what about this and this and this? When you start doing that, that's when you leave it alone.
Well, yeah, especially when we looked at the bit of previous between the two as well.
We said that Lee Cox brings his best out against Martin Adams. He had his last game, he had a victory, he had a 90 average over Stephen Burton. He was 4 from 4 in the doubles there with a 106, a 117 and 84. He hasn't dropped down to an average that we've seen from Martin Adams at that 79, so the range is better.
Yeah. Single 20 for tops, and he's got to go. He could be on the end of his
58.
Second 4-0 defeat, because of
70.
course Lee will have the darts in leg 4.
And if this goes, you've got to put Lee in contention for the qualification places.
38. Martin, you required 20.
Tightly. Winces. Knows that was an opportunity.
How many times does opportunity knock?
I was going to say don't come low, and
Game
that first start was making sure of that.
Martin
that was
Adams.
What you'd call down the pub, 1 up, 1 in.
Yeah, we tend to see that on double one, isn't it? Even
Fourth leg, it's
your teammates will shout at you. 1 up, 1 in.
$97.
Still got 2 more to bring you. 2 fascinating matches. Stephen Burton against Andy
95.
Hamilton to follow. A win there for Andy, and he will be
96.
on 6 points. And a win for Justin Smith against Lee Cox, the only player with a game in hand right now, which he's playing at the moment.
140.
Justin Smith could move on to 6 points as well.
$100.
Lee Cox doing the sort of traditional leg you want with a throw, really, just finding a treble each visit. That'll put you down to
45.
potential 15 dart leg, which forces your opponent to go out in 12. Then we've not seen Martin Adams knock on the door of in this game.
No, and he's not going to do it here, of course, because he still wants
96.
2-2-1 after 9, but they're right on cue. Matt, is that 1 treble per visit at the 96.
$140. Lee, you require 112.
Remaining, treble 17. Oh, and he's
30.
the wrong side. Now, here's
Martin,
a real
you
opportunity
require
for Adams.
81.
Get right back in this game.
Up to the 12s. 12 for the bull.
Game
Bull
shot
it
in the fourth
is.
leg. Martin
15
Adams.
darter there for Martin Adams. Took his opportunity well, levels up the game. Now has got the advantage of throw back.
Fifth leg,
What
it's
is now
Martin to
best
throw
of 3.
first. Game on.
Good 4 finishes tonight. That one could be massive for Martin. very nature
60.
the criteria and qualification out of Group B. No one's really out of it. And a win here for Martin eases the pressure going into tomorrow
29.
night. We have a scenario where we could end up with
140.
4 players on 4 points.
84.
There's a scenario where you'd end up with all 5 on 4.
And to be honest with you, that wouldn't surprise me. No
60.
scenario would surprise me with this group of players. We said this morning in Group C that we had a wide open group, and all the way through that we said we'd expect exactly the same tonight. This group I
135.
expect to be bunched and tight, and I expect this to go right down to the final games.
Big difference. We could be getting the abacus out tomorrow night for this one.
100. 60. Martin, you require 141.
Remember, Martin Adams was 2-0 down. And he was the 4-1 favourite for the tie.
60.
11 favourite for this tie. Lee Cox was the 2-1 dog.
59. Martin, you require 81.
Troubles proving elusive. Right, he went 12 ball last time.
Game shot on the
Same
fifth
hole.
leg. Martin
Back to
Adams.
back. Ball finishes for Martin Adams. Done in exactly the same way.
Sixth
I
leg,
wanna
it's
see
Lee to
the
throw first.
bullseye on the
Game
previous
on.
leg. It did leave a mark in the ball, didn't it?
Yeah, it did look like it went pretty much into the same mark as that last one, and
I want to see them side by side.
I like to evaluate.
Sorry, production suite.
95.
I like to evaluate and try and read a player or read a situation. And I feel like Lee Cox isn't playing a game of darts here, he's analysing one.
Well, we always
60.
say that you should just play the board. But it does have a feeling about it that he's playing Martin, but also playing against himself.
60.
You feel like he's the judge and jury of his own game while he's playing the game. There's a time to analyse it, there's a time to look at data, there's a time to break it down. It's not while you're up there.
No, it's not during the match, is it?
100.
Martin Adams hasn't stepped it up to come back into this. He's just took his opportunities.
180.
Like we said in the last game when Lee Cox got that victory and he was running much lower average throughout that game, that when you're presented with a chance, a low ton or a high 80 odd shot, if you can take those, you can compete with someone playing better than you
55.
in the scoring phase. Martin Adams has done that with those 2 bullseye finishes.
Yep. Martin, whenever what happens here, will have the darts in the decider.
98.
You feel now he needs a second, a second 180 of the match, but a first for Martin. And that's perfect.
95. Lee requires
Lee
68.
Cox has got 6 darts at 68. This will take us all the way. He doesn't need to go 13 bull.
You'll be looking at 39 for 24.
44.
Well thrown dart, and we'll get 3 more at that target. Nothing Martin Adams can do on the 191.
100. Lee, you
Even with the
required 24.
rotation of the wrist, he managed to find the corner of the treble 20. Can Lee Cox find double 6, double 3?
Game shot on the
left
sixth
it late.
leg.
But it
Lee
is
Cox.
Lee Cox who levels things up at 3 apiece. And it will be Martin who has the darts.
7th and final leg. It's
the
Martin to
decider.
throw first. Game on.
When it goes to the deciding leg, Martin Adams more often than not wins. 63 times he has gone to a deciding leg and found the victory. Lee Cox, 47 times he's been to a last leg.
140.
Has lost 27 of those. So if we use that 50% base rate, Martin Adams is above, Lee Cox is below, which, again, according to the stats, suggests that Martin Adams takes this one
23.
4-3. And again, even if that is the case, that to me is not a 4-11 shout.
Absolutely not.
100.
Of those 63
97.
wins, 40 times Martin Adams has done it with the advantage of throw.
Just shows it how much of a huge advantage when the darts and the decider is.
Yeah, 60 times he's had to throw in the decider.
78.
40 wins, 20 defeats. So what's that, about 66% there on the with throw stats?
Yep.
135.
Certainly take that return rate of 2/3.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, I once heard.
60.
Are you a bit of a karaoke man?
No,
No.
no,
fair.
it's not my thing. I have been known to do it once or twice, and choice of song was
60.
Coldplay's Yellow.
Martin, you require
A fan of that.
123.
Track myself. He doesn't need to go, but what we do know about Martin is he plays in a style which
40.
is very much Route 1.
Wow. 78, 60, 40 have been his last shots. Presented Lee Cox with a mini opportunity. If he can find a treble with his dart, would
60.
have applied quite a bit of pressure.
Martin, you require 83.
He's took the bullseye out twice on 81 shots. He might need it again here. This time it'd be for the match.
Game, shots, and the match.
Absolutely
Martin
incredible
Adams.
bullseye finishing from Martin Adams. His last 3 winning legs were all on the bullseye. Leg 4, 81 on the ball. Leg 5, 81 on the ball in what I think was the same hole. And leg 7, yet again, a finish on the ball for 83. 82 and 83, the averages. And it is Martin Adams who signs off with a win and moves on to full points with Andy Hamilton and Justin Smith. And it is Andy Hamilton in action against Stephen Burton. That's up next.
Welcome back to what has been a quite incredible evening of action here at the MODUS Super Series so far. An incredible couple of bullseye finishes from Martin Adams, 3 in fact in that previous match, when he came back from 2-1 down to beat Lee Cox and end his evening with 2 wins from 4. The first of them, this lovely 81 checkout, Wolfie locating the button, and then he repeated it. It's not a replay. This is to win leg 5 against Cox. Perfect again from Martin Adams, and not content with 2 bull finishes, Adams managed to get a third, this time 83 going in the last leg decider to seal victory in that one. Let's have a quick look at the table to see how things are lying going into the last couple of games of the night. Adams now moving up the table. We still have this remarkable situation where every single player could end up on 4 points. The last 2 games see Lee Cox and Stephen Burton not playing each other. Burton is playing Andy Hamilton in the penultimate game of the night. Andy Hamilton has played some good stuff. If he wins this, he could start to pull a little bit clearer. He nailed a very nice 94 finish earlier on tonight. We're going to have a look at that now. And that was against Lee Cox. What's he done wrong? Well, he did hit all of his doubles in a match earlier, so maybe he's getting his fair share of finishes hit against him as well. Stephen Burton, he produced a fabulous 164 checkout, the highest finish he's ever produced at the Super Series, coming in his 125th game. That was against Justin Smith. So Burton looking for his second win of the night. If he does that, then that prospect of all the players finishing on 4 points is very much on. Can he do it? Let's find out. Chris Mason and Matthew Edgar are waiting to guide you through every single dart.
And I think this is a game that could be needing every single leg to be completed, using virtually every single dart that they can, because this one has the makings of a 7-leg shootout. We've got 2 players that, when they hit that ceiling, can do some scary numbers. Andy Hamilton has looked the most likely today. He did go down to defeat last time out, but it wasn't for the one to try, and a 97 average.
And he's running at over 96 for the night.
Yeah, then just shy of a 96 in his opening game against Justin Smith, just shy of a 95 against Lee Cox. So in terms of the averages, Andy Hamilton is the star performer of the day so far, and like we said, could pull away in terms of the points.
First leg, it's Stephen to throw first.
Not for the first time
Game
tonight.
on.
It's a game top, or who was top, Andy Hamilton, taking on bottom of the table. And he did lose when he took on Martin Adams, was bottom. Stephen Burton currently now taking up that honour.
36.
He's lost his games to Justin Smith, which was the last one out. He also lost to Lee Cox 4-1. Did kick off his night quite all right with that game against Martin Adams. He went 1-0 down and then reeled off the next 4 legs. That one 4-1.
57.
But I don't see too much that I can separate these from in terms of the direction of this game, especially with Stephen Burton having the advantage of throw.
100.
More between them and any previous, because this is the first time these 2 have met. We can't get any kind of guide from that. It was nice to see the montage of
93.
ball finishes, and just to confirm that Martin Adams did put it in the actual almost divot or hole he left from the first 81 finish. The second one went in exactly the same hole in the bullseye. That's ultra consistent. We do have that scenario. As mentioned by Chris
140.
Murphy. We could end up with all 5 players on 4 points.
94.
Only separated by leg difference. One more game to bring you after this one. That is between Lee Cox and
100.
Justin Smith.
Stephen, you
They only have
require
one with a bit of previous back
131.
in February of in March of 2021. Challenge Tour 1.
57.
Justin Smith winning a
And you
prelim
require
game.
111.
5 legs to 2. As I've already said, no previous between these two to go by.
This could be the breaker throw that Andy needs. He's going to win this game.
79. Stephen, you require 74. Game shot on
It's
the
a nice
first
clean
leg.
kill. That always
Stephen
makes you feel
Burton.
good when you get into a game. You have a nice clean kill like that. Just treble, double, bosh, bosh. Thank you very much. Let's get on with the next leg.
Second leg, it's Andy to throw first.
Well, missed
Game on.
Double 16. Randy off the, was it a 111 attempt, wasn't it?
51.
And we did mention with Martin with regards to fatigue. Have to take that into consideration for Andy Hamilton.
100.
Fourth consecutive day of action. It's now just approaching 5 to 1 in the morning.
$80.
I'm feeling just sat here watching it.
97.
So the fourth day of play for Andy Hamilton. He'll be hoping it's 6 days though, because
42.
that'll
For
mean
sure.
he's through to Saturday night's final.
And a step closer to winning the weekly prize of £5,000, and then
100.
in the mix for week 13's prize of £20,000 to the winner. With appearance money, the couple of weeks' work could amass to
87.
around about 30 grand. Not taking a pay cut for anybody.
94.
Stephen Burton just plodding along nicely here. You do reach that point when fatigue takes hold, where you just feel like there's
35.
absolutely nothing
Stephen,
left in
you
the locker.
require
The
110.
timing of release goes, and all becomes very much a struggle.
70.
Cast your mind back to Group A. It was normally around about game 4 when Andy really started to tail off.
Yep. He just seemed to hit a wall, didn't he?
This is game 4. The luxury he's got is he doesn't have a 5th game tonight to have
50.
to go and get ready
Stephen,
for.
you require 40.
He can go back, put his feet up,
Game
have
shot on
some
the second leg.
sleep,
Stephen Burton.
knowing that he's in the running. 4 points keeps you well and truly in the mixer.
Third leg, it's Stephen to throw first.
Oh,
Game
for
on.
sure. As this group
58.
appears to be a seriously close one. 8 points could well be more than enough. Remember, it's the top 3.
99.
6 points being enough on some occasions as well. In a very, very, well, in a group that's not very, very
97.
tight like this one.
You know, when you look at their previous averages, there was literally nothing to separate them. The only pernickety little point I could find was that Lee Cox under 33%.
180.
Other than that, all the stats extremely similar, which is why when we look at the table, the points are extremely similar.
Well, we
81.
currently are on target to have at least 4 of the 5 on 4 points. If Stephen Burton can turn this 2-0 lead into a
100.
2-point win. And it would just be down to Lee
57.
Cox to
And you
defeat
require
Justin Smith.
122.
He's not done before.
And then really everyone's back to the start again. And why did we bother?
Yeah, exactly.
40.
It's where we were, or as you were. Now you can pressure this 82 with a max.
140.
Very similar
And
those
you
darts
require
to
82.
Merv King dart, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a bit groovy.
Mm,
And I don't
literally.
mean- yeah.
62.
Austin Powers, weren't it?
Stephen,
Groovy.
you require
Oh,
68.
Not a bad fun movie.
Game shot on the third leg.
Burton.
Stephen Burton.
Mustard on the outer ring himself. He's now on the cusp of a 4 from 4 to
Fourth leg,
join
it's Andy to throw first.
Lee
Game
Cox and Justin Smith, who have achieved that feat already this evening.
It's quite a rare thing that we see, and to see it,
60.
this would be 3 out of the 9 games if Stephen Burton can hit the double with
We've seen it.
the first start.
We've seen it once today, didn't we? In
Cam Crabtree.
100.
115.62.
and we've seen it once or twice in Group A. Yeah, I suppose you have got to be pretty much 4 from 4 to do a 115.62. Wonder how many times he's watched that back already this evening.
Probably just got on repeat on loop.
Loop.
Sent the link to all his friends.
180.
I don't blame him either.
Check out this game I played today.
Yeah.
I only played the one.
$140.
It's something that can never be taken away from the young man.
$91.
We've seen all the football manager experts today, didn't we? Come out
59.
after the
Stephen, you require
release of the
130.
England team. We had plenty of darts experts as well after the 115.62 from Cam.
65.
Please, they're not queuing up down the street to play. Oh, it's just applying a bit of pressure, which
140.
he has
Stephen,
done
you require
brilliantly.
65.
Too good. He wanted that with the
Game,
last start. It
shots,
matters
and the
not.
match. Stephen
And
Burton.
Stephen Burton does complete the 4 from 4. And he joins Andy Hamilton on 4 points. Well, the numbers, 91.09 for Burton, 1,180. And a big stat there, 4 from 4, our third 100% on doubles for the night. Our final game coming up next as Lee Cox faces Justin Smith.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where I'm joined by Stephen Burton, fresh from a fantastic victory. Stephen, 4 out of 4 on your doubles in that one. We'll take a look at the stats now. You deserved that, didn't you? Because it happened to you a couple of times tonight.
Yeah, I don't think I've played too bad tonight. My doubles has let me down, but my opponents, every time I had a chance, have taken it. So I think, you know, in theory, that probably deserved to win that match, and 100% on the doubles is sort of put them demons the other 2 games behind me. So
yeah, it's a nice way to finish, isn't it? Because all the players could be on the same point. In fact, we'll take a look at the league table now. If Lee Cox can win this last match against Justin Smith, everybody is going to finish on 4. But for you to have done that in your last match must give you a good feeling overnight.
yeah, I think when you got the 4 games, ideally the first night, winning 2 is like the minimum you want. Obviously more is better, but winning 2 just gives you that chance on the Friday night. So but I mean, if we're all on 4, we're in for a cracker night of darts tomorrow.
Yeah, there we can see. So Lee Cox is playing Justin Smith in the last game. If he wins that, then we'll have every single player on 4 points. What would be your approach going into tomorrow if that happens? Because it might not just be about winning games, and it might be about trying to get your leg difference as high as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that 4-0 there has obviously helped me massively, but ideally tomorrow, obviously I'm going to be playing Andy first on. If I could get an early win, it's probably foot is going to be in the door. So, yeah, like you say, legs could be a massive factor tomorrow, but just win games, and, you know, the rest will follow.
And do you feel like you've settled in here now at the Super Series since we moved here? You know where everything is, you know where all the holes are on the stage and everything as well?
Yeah, obviously I had the nightmare of the launch night of losing my dart. Last time I come down here, I mean, I lost 7 out of 8. Didn't play, you know, too bad, but just, again, my doubles are just letting me down so much at the moment. But, you know, the setup here is great. When you're not on the Pro Tour, the next best thing is here by a country mile, you know. So I'm honoured and privileged to be here, and just thankful I get the opportunity.
And we're honoured and privileged to have him here as well. We'll see him again tomorrow night in this really closely contested group. And that 4 out of 4 on the doubles, that's happened 3 times this evening, twice against Stephen and once for him. I've been doing the maths. Chris Mason and Matthew Egger was talking about it earlier on. And it actually, in the history of the Super Series, going back to the early days in Southampton as well, it happens in 2% of matches. Tonight it's 33%. So it really is a crazy evening tonight. And we've got one more match to see if we do indeed have a 5-way tie. Let's get it on. It is Justin Smith against Lee Cox.
Thanks, Murph, and thanks, Stephen Burton. Yeah, the boys have been deadly on the doubles. I actually thought that Stephen Burton went from bottom to top, but of course, I think it must be on leg difference that he's not gone from bottom to the top, but he's joint top after being dead last. Now, we do have this scenario. If Lee Cox can defeat Justin Smith, we will end up with all 5 players all on 4 points, separated
First leg, it's Lee to throw first.
by leg
Game
difference,
on.
but the bookies don't give Lee Cox too much of a chance here. He's 6-5. I quite like the 8-13 about Justin Smith when I compare the
40
numbers of both throughout the entire night so far.
I think the first thing you always look for is the potential ceiling, don't you? How far can they
55.
go? And Justin Smith, you've got to say, is a favourite on the basis of that, and what we've seen tonight and what we've seen from him recently. Obviously, that Challenge Tour win
125.
actually just a month or so ago. The 2 have played before, just once. It was in 2021 at Challenge Tour 1, so it was right at the
125.
start of last year. That was in a prelim at the Challenge Tour in Milton Keynes, and that went the way of Justin Smith. Took that one 5-2.
85.
If we can get a shot straight on. Here's a shot straight on of Justin Smith. I just want to see the flight of the dart and how different they are when it comes out of Lee's hand. I mean, the result's the same.
180.
They're both finding the lipstick, but
141.
when you actually see the release of the dart from both.
83.
It couldn't
Lee, you
be more
require
different.
71.
Really comes out of his hand sideways.
51. Justin,
Well,
you
with
require
Justin,
58.
The point of release is really clean through the air.
Game shot on the
And
first
what a
leg.
first leg
Justin
that was
Smith.
from both. Lee Cox just missing the double for the hold.
Second leg, it's
Justin
Justin to
Smith
throw
stepping
first.
in.
Game on.
For a 14 dart break of throw.
Well, one of the reasons for that is if you look at the
140.
angle of the dart in the hand, look at Lee Cox as he pulls it back. The point is almost pointing down, not towards the floor, but towards what would be probably the
96.
skirting board. So it's sort of pointing down, which means the arc of the dart, it's got to level off in the air before it can really catch
59.
flight. So he loses about 30 to 40% of his time of the dart in the air being under control. So he's got about 30-40% of little control on the
100.
dart as the equipment does the job.
Yeah.
With Justin Smith, as the dart comes back, the dart is sort of up at the arch, and the arch of the dart is already on its journey. He's just applying the pressure
58.
and letting it on its way.
Yeah, the release is much cleaner. And again, it's down to the position of the dart in the hand. It's almost like a knife thrower when you look at
60.
Lee Cox. No two are the same, of course.
$140.
Just think in terms of efficiency and control.
Reliability.
Yeah.
121.
Exactly that, and that
Justin, you require
creates
104.
consistency, of course, which is the name of the game.
That creates confidence. All a knock-on effect. It's
You
like
can
a
go ball.
domino.
For treble 20,
48. Lee, you
for
require
double 13, but
124.
unless Lee Cox can produce one on the ball, which he doesn't, Smith's
58.
back for 56.
Justin, you require 56.
For 2-zip.
Game shot on the
Well,
second
decided
leg.
he didn't want to go
Justin
at double
Smith.
18. So split it, 4 for double 16.
Well, he did split the
Third leg, it's Lee to
double
throw
9
first.
earlier for
Game
2
on.
double 8. He must really like that section of the board.
He should have just gone treble 8 for double 16 then, shouldn't he?
85.
With the way this group's going,
140.
would Justin Smith winning this game against Lee Cox pretty much book his place through, especially if he can get a good scoreline, because he's already on plus 3
100.
legs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if a win here, 4-0, 4-1, and that leg difference going in tomorrow is going to be massive. I'd say he's
140.
2 games away from guaranteeing 1, and you think he's got to be there or thereabouts.
40.
And I really don't want to say, I told you so. But that
But you've done
9
it.
to 2 was far too big
Yeah.
on Justin Smith to win this group. And at the moment, it's looking like
80.
he's going to end day 1 on top of the table.
Yeah, I agree. And you won't be finding any odds like that on him tomorrow. Well, right now you won't. They're all gone, aren't they? Those odds.
43. Justin, you require
Yeah, I expect him to probably
141.
start tomorrow around about the 11 to 8 sort of mark if he wins this one.
Yep.
79.
Even when he does have a, like when he made the error on the double 18, there's no dwell time, is there? He's just too quick for anything to affect him.
140.
Just gets on with the job in hand.
Justin, you
The job in
require
hand here.
62.
He's treble 10, single 20, double 16.
Game shot on the
He's
third
mustard
leg.
on there, isn't he?
Justin Smith.
15 darter to go with the 14 darter and the 18 darter in leg 2.
Fourth leg,
It's
it's
the double
Justin to
break
throw
of throw.
first. Game on.
And he is in absolute control.
wonder where that expression "is mustard" actually came from, because mustard's
Red hot, isn't it?
got to be one of the most
100.
unlike sort of condiments.
Yeah, but it's hot.
And I suppose it's a ketchup and mayo mix wouldn't sound the same.
It's Mary Rose, isn't it?
140.
I think. Oh no.
121.
Again, fine recovery.
I just done myself in there, Joe. Is ketchup and mayo on the
60.
double 16?
Yes, doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does it?
Yeah, it's not cottoning on that.
100.
Well, Justin Smith possibly 2 visits away from a 4-0 win.
140.
Lee has other ideas. A fabulous 140. His third of the match. Another one of those
100.
would have been perfect.
Lee
It would have left
require
tops.
161.
Justin will be back at 80.
48. Justin, you require 80. 60.
And it was always awkward because it was high.
Lee, you require
It's
130.
become a bit of a blocker. We have plenty of ton plus finishes tonight and plenty from this man. And that was very
93.
nearly another.
Justin, you require 20.
Split it.
16. Lee, you require 20.
Well, multiple match darts for Justin Smith.
Game shot on the
Lee
fourth
Cox
leg.
steps in.
Lee Cox.
Makes him pay a 16 dart break of throw. And you could see the
Fifth leg,
frustration.
it's Lee to throw first.
Justin.
Game on.
He knows he should have been back in the players' room, packing up his bits and pieces and heading back to the
81.
hotel.
$180.
That's a wonderful response after dealing with the disappointment.
97. 99.
He's created a lead that Lee Cox is eating into.
140.
About this visit.
52.
Well, that's a bit of good fortune there because the treble 4 is 12 and it needs 170.
133. Justin, you require 170.
About a 167 tonight. We've had a 170 this week.
84. Lee, you require 50.
Sorry, we've had a 167 this week and a
30.
164 tonight and a 170 from Jesus.
Justin, you require 86.
Well, 54 for 32. To get the job done. What are we going to see? Well, it's double 7.
Game, shots, and the
Lee
match.
Cox knew
Justin
it was going
Smith.
in, and Justin Smith was confident in his approach, and that was a very tidy display in the end. Lee Cox just not out of the blocks quick enough. An average of 93.79. We don't have that scenario of all 5 players on 4 points because it is Justin Smith who moves to 6 points and will be our overnight leader. Let's catch up with the boys on the balcony.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. A really interesting evening, Matthew Edgar alongside me. We didn't quite get to that point where all the players are tied, but it's still wide open going into tomorrow.
Yeah, no one's out of it, and that's the beauty of this group. We said halfway through, like, if this was Group C, Martin Adams, after losing those first 2 games, would have been in danger of getting the old marker pen through the name, but you're never out of this. We've seen in the past David Pallett springs to mind, lost all 4 games on day 1, come back and won all 4 and qualified, so no one is out of this going into tomorrow.
Yeah, let's have a look at that league table to get confirmation of that. Nobody out of it, but Justin Smith, even though he's won 3 matches, he's not through either, is he?
He's not through, but he's top of the table, and I believe someone asked me at the start of the show who might go through, and I think I said Justin Smith, actually.
Yeah, remind me of that tomorrow, or I'll remind you if he doesn't go through. I'm sure you'll definitely remind me if he does. You're going to stick with him, I'm sure. Who else do you see going through from this group?
Stephen Burton's been good. I've been impressed with him today. He came up earlier saying that his doubles wasn't quite going well for him. I think that was going well enough. I think sometimes when you get bogged down in the moment and in the game, you can feel like something's not working as well. And he had that 4 from 4 as well, didn't he, in the last game there as well. So I think Stephen Burton's looking good, and I think the last place is all to play for.
Yeah, certainly it's all to play for in this group, all to play for in Group C as well in the morning. We'll be back from 9:30 a.m. for the conclusion of that group, and then back here to see how this one plays out from 10 p.m. So don't forget to join us live on Sporty Stuff TV and via the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. See you then.